Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the old BXR podcast. Today we have a special. Oh, the coffee's got to get flowing. Today we have a special guest, Wisefish Gaming. He's an awesome
Hello.
YouTuber, and then I also have the normal Jared and PopQ joining me today. So it's gonna be a topic packed podcast because certain companies are just, I don't know, they just keep doing things every day. It gets worse, it seems. But before we hop into anything, Wisefish, you can say hello.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad we figured out a time that kind of worked. So
Well, I don't know. It works for me. I don't know if it works for you guys.
nah, it works. So obviously, Wisefish he's across the ocean. So we were trying to figure out a time that didn't keep him up in the middle of the night. So we're doing it super early in the morning before I have to go to work. But I think it works. I think it works. But all right, why don't we'll go ahead and hop in. Before we dive into any of the super topical topics, though, Wisefish, why don't you tell us what you think about the state of Halo today?
Oh man, Halo. The thing I absolutely loved. I mean, back in 2001 when the Xbox came out, I was so hyped for Halo. I watched my dad play it because he was excited for it, and since then I've just absolutely loved the game. And then it got to Halo 4, and I was super hyped for that one as well. And then 5 came out, and I never touched it until much, much later, and just didn't like it at all. And then Infinite, the trailers got the hype going again because it looked like Halo. It felt like Halo again. And then played the campaign, and I wasn't that bothered by that. It was fine. Like, it was much better than 5. Something didn't click. The open world just felt so not dated, just empty. Like, it's meant to be this, the Zeta Halo is meant to be so full of stuff to explore and everything. And so much mystery behind it, so much history. And I just never got that. Every level felt the same. Enemies were fine to kill, but that was about it. And in terms of multiplayer, I'm never that big on it. I have fun for about a month, but maybe even that. And then I sort of drop off. But there was so little content at the beginning. I think I played for about 2 weeks and just went, I'm done. And since then, I mean, season 1, I didn't touch at all. Season 2, I can't remember what that was. I know it started getting better, but every time I've seen an update, I'm just like, okay, cool. Well, the community might be happy with that, but I'm just so far removed from it now.
Right.
I just don't really care. Like, I feel really bad because I absolutely adored the game. 2001, that's all I ever played. Halo 3, I think I was up every night with my friends playing it. Halo 4 even, I played absolutely tons to make sure I got all those armors that you could unlock from doing specific challenges. I was up so long at uni just playing it, doing the campaign over and over again to get those like legendary challenges and everything like that, daily challenges. And then I don't know what it is about Infinite. I look at it, I think I could replay it, but I'm really not bothered. So I don't know what it is about Infinite that just doesn't click, because the gunplay's great. Visuals are fine. I still think they look a bit like, not rubbery, but like there's something about the visuals. I'm like, yeah, it's good, but it doesn't blow me away. But yeah, overall, Halo, I keep up to date with the news, but I'm so not bothered with it anymore.
Have any of the content updates, any of the later seasons, got you to jump back into the game, or no?
I gotta say, the Flood one, when they brought Infection and
what
was that one?
I don't know what I forget what season that was, but yeah,
season 3 or 4 maybe.
That's when they added that forest map extraction. I think, yeah.
I love the armor for that, although most of it you had to pay for. Which just summarizes the game really. I didn't actually touch on the microtransactions, but I can't stand that. But Also Firefight, because I love PvE. That's why I like to play a good campaign. So I played Firefight for a bit, and then again, I just was like, yeah, I've done that. I can't get any rewards. Like there's the season pass, but most of the time it was just like a boost or like a couple of credit things that I can't buy anything with. And so it was just like, yeah, it's cool. And then, yeah, I haven't touched it since. I was intrigued by the story for a bit, and then they dropped that in like a heartbeat. So when they started doing like the Lone Spartan or whatever it was, I can't even remember anymore. But,
oh yeah,
the cinematics were cool.
We got like 2 multiplayer cinematics, and then they gave up, and now we get blog posts. So if you like reading, I mean, those blog posts they go hard.
Hey, be careful what you say. You might make some people angry. You know, you can get the entire story in its context in just the games. All right. Even Halo 5 and Infinite and those games, everything you need to know in just the games. You need no external reading. Yeah, that's what Twitter told me. So,
it must be true.
I mean, what about the lore? What does the lore guy think? Do you think you need to read a book or two to understand some aspects of Halo? Definitely in later games.
When I jumped into Halo 5, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I was like, what is this game? Yeah. Like, who's this arrogant, like, I can't remember his name, Buck, I think his name is, or Bucky, whatever. But oh no, wait, he was in ODST. But I was like, how did he get to be a Spartan? And who are these other people?
There's a whole book about that. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then Infinite, like, and I think it also ties into the things like Halo Wars 2. I love the story of that. I didn't like the gameplay. I'm not a big that type of RTS fan, but I love the story. And then you got that scientist that's trapped on the ring or the Ark or whatever it is, and I'm just like, where's she gone? Like, are they going to touch on that, or is that going to be in a book? The death of Locke as well, is that going to be in a book? Or I just expect every campaign to be in a book now.
I remember before it came out, there was that Lego piece that had Locke's head on it. So like,
oh yeah,
everyone was like, oh, they killed Locke, but they don't even fucking mention it. So yeah, I haven't read a Halo book since like the original one, so I have no clue what's been going on in the book. So for all I know, he could be like on a nice beach right now, chilling, having a good time. But but in the video game, he does not exist anymore. He was a one and done.
Hey, you said they don't. You said they don't mention it, but in one of the grunt communication towers, I do believe they mention his name.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do they?
Uh-huh.
Oh my bad.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Sorry, I forgot. One of the main character basically from the previous game, you know, he got a mention in like some random side
Grunt tower.
But my bad, I missed that one. So that's on me actually.
You're gonna have to go back and replay it.
Infinite is the one Halo campaign. I'm sure maybe it'll change eventually, but it's the only campaign. Oh no, I lied. Also Halo 5, but like I played it once, finished it, and have never like cared to go back at all.
No, I just there's something about it that I'm just like, I'm fine with the linear levels. They're okay, but they're the same room over and over again.
Yeah,
it's the repetitiveness. Like you said, the open world was empty. A lot of it. There was plenty of people that actually gave Infinite's campaign a lot of praise, but honestly, I think I think in my opinion, it's the worst. It's the worst one out of the mainline games.
Really, the worst.
Yeah. Halo 5. Obviously, Halo 5 story was awful, but at least there was more variety in the level design.
Actually, thinking about it, in Halo 5, there was one mission that I absolutely loved the setting for. It's when you first see the hunters, and there's like the worm that crawls across the thing. And I thought that was really cool setup for a boss battle. In Halo Infinite, you go into a very small room, and suddenly you got 2 banished hunters, and it's like, take them out. You're like, what? Right. And they're so impossible in that one anyway.
I think that's the thing with Halo Infinite, though. Compared to like Halo 4 and 5, there's no like real ginormous, like epic moments that really stand out.
Yeah, the
like
big
everything
set pieces.
Everything just kind of bleeds together. You don't even need to use the
I
tank. Okay, you
didn't.
just
I
grapple across the
grappled her on
canyon,
the
all right?
side and skipped the whole drive.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of get it with like some of the boss fights, kind of, but there's nothing like in Halo 5 when you're on San Helios or whatever, and you're freaking, charging through the planet with all of these like epic things happening in the skybox and stuff. It's like there's just none of that with Infinite, really. And like,
Yeah.
what should have been the biggest, coolest moment, or one of them should have been the opening of the game. Like, you should have fought through the ship.
Oh, mate.
as it was
Yes,
being
you
torn
should have played
apart.
that.
That
Like,
cutscene
come
annoyed
on,
me
that-
so
That
much.
should have been the coolest part of the entire game. Instead, we just get a cutscene and Chief getting his ass kicked. I wanted
Right.
to play as Chief and get my ass kicked. Like, come on, man.
But the thing is, so many games start like that, where it's like, look, you can take on almost everything, and then you meet someone that's completely overpowered, and you just cannot defeat them. And it basically just says to you, you need to go through the game to power up, and then at the end you'll be able to defeat them, which you can't because you don't actually see them in the game at all, apart from that cutscene and the end one.
It's like set him
yeah.
up as the main enemy and you don't fight him. Like, come on, man.
Like that cutscene at the beginning is essentially the Pillar of Autumn quest mission from the first game, and you didn't play it, and it really bothers me because that first mission in Halo Combat Evolved was so memorable because everything's going wrong, everything's blowing up. You meet the elites, which are terrifying. You're in narrow corridors, and so it's a real like try and escape quickly. And it was a great way to get you into the game immediately. And then Infinite had the perfect opportunity to show the new combat system that they sort of updated, the new enemy designs or something like that, but they didn't. They just showed it all in the cutscene. And I think that's immediately made me go, what are we doing? Like, what is this game?
Yeah, I like when I launched up Infinite and it starts off like with the cutscene when you're fighting like Atriox or whatever, he like beats the shit out of you, and then the game just starts and I'm like, all right, and then you just spend the whole game like running around the map fighting like random bosses, and then you just call it a day. You get some like kind of cliffhanger, and then obviously that never got expanded on. So
I also think you should have got the grapple a bit more naturally, because they show it in the cutscene that Chief's just got a grapple. You're like, well, where did you get that? Where's it come from? Because he just grapples to the ship trying to get back on. I'm like, okay, we've got a grapple then. But like, they should have picked it up as part of like some upgrade to your suit or something, I don't know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in Halo 5, you have like 7 different abilities that you didn't have in any of the past games. So that's
true,
not in. So that's a thing too.
Yeah, Halo 4 as well. You sort of just I suppose throughout all the Halos, you had things like invisibility, power up things on the floor that you never explain where they come from or anything. But yeah, so there's always that.
How confused do you think Chief is? Like, he's going through the story, right? He's like CE 2, 3. Like he's like, all right, yeah, this makes sense. Like I learned how to dual wield. I learned how to pick up equipment. You know, it's all going well. Then he leaves for a game, comes back and forth from his slumber. He's learned how to sprint. So he learned how to sprint. You know, that's fair game. And then he wakes up in 5, you know, ready to go out for the day, and he can fucking ground pound, Spartan charge, thrust. But then
don't forget, he forgot how to hold 2 weapons though.
Oh, that's true. He did.
Frame. It's like, oh fuck, how do I do this? Like, am I right or left-handed?
He's got a sprint, so he's got to get rid of some weight, which is the gun.
That's a fair point. So he's really evolving, and then he wakes up after getting his shit beat by Atriox, and he's forgotten it all.
Yeah, it's all a dream. It's all a dream. It's like even in 4, he must be confused because he wakes up and just goes, "I thought we defeated the Covenant." And she's like, "No, they're just scavenger party." You're like,
well, and don't
where are
forget,
we?
his mind is super distracted because he's like, "Man, Cortana, when did you get so thick? Like, what the hell happened while I was sleeping? Like, god damn, I need to sleep more often." Fuck the Covenant.
I know, he should have come out absolutely mammoth like he's in Gears of War or something like that.
Dude, honestly, they should have roided him up. That's a great point. I think that could have saved Halo right out the bat.
Then it could have led into Doom. Like, okay, here we go. Now it all comes together.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, you're fighting the forces of hell. Man, what a game that would be.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we move on from Halo, I'm sure it'll come up later. But you were talking a little bit about how you like the PvE stuff. What did you think about Firefight and Infinite? Because I have my thoughts, but well, what did you think of it?
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, when I first played it, I thought, yeah, this is really cool because I finally get to use the combat system, work together with teams and everything. But I got to admit, it made me miss Warzone a bit. I played quite a bit of Warzone, and I was like, this is a good game mode. If they just sort of worked on it and it wasn't so microtransaction heavy. It was a really good mode, especially the ones where you had two teams fighting it out with the enemies as well. It was like, I really like that type of thing. I was also a big fan of Destiny's Gambit when that first came out, and that just went south very quickly.
Yeah, so, I really liked that when that came out too.
Yeah, Gambit. It was a great idea.
That was really fun. Yeah,
PvPvE is a brilliant game mode, I think, and I thought it would have worked great with Warzone in Halo Infinite with that new combat system, without the microtransactions, all the new vehicles, the banished vehicles, which they should have added more, but still, I thought it would have been really good. But yeah, Firefight, I played it and I thought it's good, but I just got bored quickly. It was the same maps that I've experienced with PvE. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what much to say about it, really. It was fine, but it didn't grab my attention.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. Like I launched it up when they dropped it, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then I haven't played it since. So
yeah, I think the problem is just with Infinite in general. The reason I don't play it that much is because I just don't feel rewarded. And I know they got the battle passes that can last for as long as you want, but the coolest armors are always in the shop. Like the Banished one that just came out, I was like, that's quite cool, and then saw it's got a £25 price tag on it for me. And I'm like, yeah, well, there's no way to earn that, is there? So I just can't be bothered.
Hey, they added the Spartan points now, so maybe you can spend all season to unlock an armor coating if you decide.
Isn't it that you don't get quite enough? They got the maths wrong or something.
They didn't get it wrong. I'm sure they figured it out real good on their end.
Oh yeah.
Calculated.
They'll be back. They always come back.
But yeah. All right. Well, Wisefish, let's talk about you a little bit. So I think we crossed paths. I mean, hell, years ago now. I think at that point you were still, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if you still do this, but at that point you were still editing YouTube videos for like other people, and you also did like your own kind of, I would call them just like standard kind of gaming reviews.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
They were.
No, they were like good videos. That's like an easy way to describe them, right? But yeah, so tell me, how'd you start on YouTube? Where did it all come from?
Well, I did film before, and I was working at a production house editing documentaries. And I felt like one of my weakest things was writing scripts. I was just absolutely awful at them, like trying to get to like cliffhanger endings of sections. They were really bad. So I wanted to work on that. So I thought I watched a lot of Hidden Xperia and My Name is Bife videos when I was at work. So they were just in like side monitor whilst I was editing these documentaries. And I was just like, these guys have really good script writing skills. So I'll just try and do that in my free time just to see if I can improve. I also watched a lot of like Actman reviews, Angry Joe reviews, and I thought, I'd love to do reviews of games because then I can play games as much as I want and make videos on them. So it was really just practicing script writing and editing, things like that. And then I got noticed by Rocket Sloth, which I know you guys do a lot of stuff with.
Yeah.
And they got me to edit some of their videos together. So I did a few of their videos back in like 2018, I think it was. And then through that, Roanoke Gaming found me. And so he wanted me to edit for him. And then through him, I edited for Wow Such Gaming. So I had 3 on the go. And then Hidden Xperia, the person I've been watching all that time, wanted me to edit for him a few times as well. And by that point, I was sort of getting the idea of how it was all working, but also I was getting enough work that I didn't need to work at the production house anymore. So I left that thinking I would be fine. And that's when COVID hit. So that didn't really work out. But I had the free time to just work on my own videos. And like you say, I made reviews, but I didn't have the time to play the games with editing for other people. And I really liked what Luke was doing with Hidden Xperia, with all the lore videos. So I just sort of dip my toe into that. And yeah, the first lore video I made was for Fallout. And I was getting around about 200 views per video before that. As soon as I did the Fallout lore video, suddenly the views were just like in the thousands. And I was, it was like 1,000 or 2,000. But for me, that was like, oh my God, people are watching these. And then I just started doing more lore videos, and that just felt more fluid for me. Like the writing felt better to do. I enjoyed editing because I could go out of my way to find footage and make it cinematic. And yeah, I just enjoyed doing that more than reviews. Reviews are so tough, as you probably know, Jared, because you make them yourself. They're so long because you've got to play the game, but then you've got to analyze it whilst you're playing. And I'm not very good at that because after I've played the game, I usually have a honeymoon period, and then I'm like, oh no, actually that was pretty awful. So yeah, I prefer doing the lore because yeah, I could just be more cinematic, be fun with edits, and I just like writing the scripts to them. So since doing that, I've unfortunately dropped editing for other people because the channel's doing well, and you need momentum on YouTube, otherwise it just sort of drops off a cliff. So I had to just tell people I can't edit anymore, unfortunately. I still edit for a guy called OK Robert, who was a friend of Forge Labs, who makes Minecraft 100-day videos.
Okay.
So I do one of those a month, which are great fun to edit together. And yeah, I mean, the channel's now at 150,000 subscribers because I dipped my toe into lore, and it luckily paid off. But also thanks to all the people that I edited for who were sharing the videos and posting them on YouTube and stuff like that. And obviously you guys as well for, retweeting all that stuff and supporting me through it. So yeah, that's really how I got to where I am now, and very thankful for it.
No, man, that's awesome. Out of all the lore videos you did, what do you think was like the most fun one to like research and do the writing for?
Oh, geez.
Or just if you don't have a specific video, like what's been your favorite game to cover? Because you've covered like a bunch of different games now.
I mean, I love Cyberpunk because graphically I find it the most visually pleasing one. So I love, I found a mod that lets me fly around the city and do whatever I want. So just being able to see little pockets that are sort of hidden away in the best visuals you can. I love making those videos. But I really liked making Skyrim lore videos because I love that game so much, and it just allowed me to just walk around and see different things. Unfortunately, they're not the most popular, but just diving into Skyrim, any excuse to do that, I absolutely love it. So yeah, I suppose the one I'd always want to keep diving into is Cyberpunk, but quickly running out of content for that, unfortunately.
Hey man, they're gonna come out with a new one, but I don't know how many years it's gonna be now. So
yeah, exactly. Same with Fallout. Actually, I love making Fallout, but God knows when that one, the next game will come out. Thank God for the TV series because it like revitalized it and everything. But
yeah, I feel like, I mean, they probably didn't know how big that TV show was gonna go, but it does feel like they are squandering an opportunity there to like hit on some hype, because like you're saying, the next Fallout game, I mean, assuming they don't change things, like it's probably 10 plus years out, right? Like we're supposed to get an Elder Scrolls game, and Bethesda doesn't make games very often, so
I mean, the last Elder Scrolls game of Skyrim came out in 2011. It's going to be about 15 years since that game that we're going to get the new one, and it will look exactly the same, probably. Like
it'll look a tiny bit better. It'll look like Starfield, which doesn't look that much better.
Don't get me started on that one. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I just wish But I mean, we'll get into this about the Microsoft and Xbox just not knowing what they're doing with their assets, because they have a perfect opportunity. I mean, they've got so many studios, they've got amazing IPs, and it's just like, I have no idea when we're going to oversee them, especially Fallout. So yeah,
I guess at least for Fallout. I mean, I haven't really played it. Jared, I think you might still play it. At least they have Fallout 76, which is like kind of an ongoing thing. Which for a while, I remember last year during the Summer's Game Fest, or maybe it was the year before. I remember Fallout 76 got like a spot in, or not Summer's Games Fest, in like the Xbox showcase in June. I remember like last year, the new Fallout expansion, 76 expansion, got like a slot in the show. I was like, dude, why is that there? Like, why are they still covering Fallout and not Halo? Well, I was wrong, dude. Fallout's much more relevant.
Well, it is, and I've played a lot of 76, and I can say this: that is one of the most dedicated communities I've ever seen in a game. Like, period.
Oh yeah,
like everyone's super nice to each other. They're very welcoming. Like there's really no toxic. Okay, some people would probably disagree with this a little bit. There's always a little toxicity, but in general, Fallout 76 has like this crazy, just consistent player base, and I guarantee it's a huge ass money maker for Microsoft or Xbox. Like, there's no way it's not. And like, the microtransaction store for the game is not good. It's pretty scummy on so many levels, but it's like the players just they don't care because it's like, oh, multiplayer Fallout, we love this world, we love the lore. And I'm gonna be honest, like even my time with Fallout 76, I spend more time just building in the game than anything else.
oh
Because it's
man,
just so fun to run around, build in the game. And they even like with the like all the updates and stuff, you could pretty much go up almost like forge mode and just kind of circle around your camp. And the fact that you have that kind of system in a multiplayer game is really interesting. Like, what other games really have that kind of feature where you can, play with other players and do that kind of stuff? There's not a lot of games I can think of. Maybe some survival crafting game or something. Like, I guess I've never played something like Rust. Maybe you can do something like that in that game, but I don't know. It's a weird, unique experience that has gotten just better and better over time.
it's crazy. It is a crazy one. Like every time I've jumped back into it, I'll be in my base building, and I hated building in Fallout 4. I absolutely hated that you had to go back to your settlement because I've run out of water. And you're like, oh, just do it yourselves. Like, this is ridiculous. But then for some reason, Fallout 76, every time I go back to it, the other day I was playing it in the evening. I spent 3 hours building my base. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? I hate building. But there's about it that's just so like, you just fixated on it. But then there's been times where I'm building it and someone's just walked in and then they just drop a load of things. And they're just like, and then they wave and then they're off. And suddenly you've got like legendary armor. There's something about that community that's really, really kind. And I don't know what it is about the game, apart from the guy that nuked Phil Spencer the other day.
I know you're talking about how kind the community is, and all I can think of is that post that I saw of them nuking Phil Spencer's base.
I was gonna ask how you guys feel that Bethesda's probably the next studio to get shut down. You can't just nuke Phil. I mean, come on.
And that was a mistake. I mean, we're never gonna get Fallout 5. We're never gonna get Elder Scrolls 6. The last thing we get is Starfield DLC, man. Like, what a world we live. I mean, at least they're adding maps to the game. I mean, God's sake, what would a game be without maps, man? At least I could see where I'm going in the city now.
Jesus, that's like a quality of life thing that someone adds as a mod. It's not a feature. It should have been there at the beginning. The map system is an absolute joke in Starfield. I can't believe that they even spoke about it like it was some big revolutionary design. It's like you had that design in Skyrim in 2011 where you could, it was a detailed map and you could zoom in on buildings. It baffles me. I'd love to think that it was Todd Howard that nuked Phil. Who just entered the game and he was the one that just launched the bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, with Starfield, like, all right, so I will admit I'm not a huge like RPG game player, and I've never finished a Bethesda game, so like this isn't really Like, this isn't saying much, but like, I think I played like 4 or 5 hours of Starfield, and like the side quest stuff was like kind of cool, and then I just got bored, and then I just never opened it again.
That's all I played was the side quest stuff. The main story just bored the hell out of me because nothing happened. And well, as far as I got, you go collecting like power-ups, which are essentially the Dragonborn abilities in space. And I just kept doing that. I was like, this is so boring. I don't even know what I'm doing. But then there were occasionally like a good side quest, and I thought, oh, this is quite interesting. But I went into it thinking that, by the end of the year, I'm going to have tons of Starfield lore videos. There's so much to see in this world. You know, you've got so many planets. I'll just do a lore video on every planet and how it got to be. But when you get to the planet and you just see one base, and it's the same base from the last planet you went to, that was an ice planet, and this one's like a desert planet, and you're like, why have they got the same base? That doesn't make any logical sense. And you're like, there's nothing to explore here. Even like the creatures of the terramorphs or whatever they were called, that are really interesting in design. It's got like it was like one paragraph of lore, and you see it in the game, and it was sort of like, no one knows how this was created. You're like, oh, great, thanks. And I don't know. It was one of those games where I just went, I don't know why I've got 80 hours in this. I don't know what I've done.
Yeah.
That's the sad part about it, though, right? Because Starfield, it's just there's all of this to explore, but none of it is unique in any way. Like the main story, like you were saying, it's just literally one came after the other, and the caves just have a couple different shades to them that you're exploring. Like they didn't even take advantage of the actual unique environments to make like the main story missions unique. Like there's no creativity in space. You literally have the excuse to do whatever the hell you want. You can make up any rules. You don't have to follow any logic. And they just said, well, let's just treat it like you're walking around in Oblivion. Oh, that should be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I know it's space, but let's just treat it like Earth. All planets are like Earth. Oh, you can jump a little higher here and there, but it provides no gameplay element to the game, really.
Every planet is a scientific experiment building. I'm like, oh, God, I know it's meant to be like NASA punk, I think was what they called it. But like in terms of art style, it was so sterile, I think is the word I heard. Like you go into a building, you think it's as clean as anything. It's like they've been here for like 2 seconds and they've just set up and they're not going to touch anything. There's no, you got the alien life forms of like the animals roaming about and stuff like that. But it's like, really, you're not going to have any other life forms other than some weird dinosaur creature things. When I look at Mass Effect and I just think of what that did for creating a universe, it's not even a universe, it's a Milky Way. It's much smaller in scale compared to what Starfield went for. And I just feel like it's so grand in scale. And even Halo, like that focused, the first game focused on one ring world. And yet I felt like the universe was absolutely huge. There was so much to explore, so many alien races that were interesting. Starfield, there's nothing to see, really. Like I felt like I just went into a very small museum and went, yep, I know everything now.
I feel like I feel like with space, like Jared's saying, they had so much potential. I mean, Mass Effect is like I say I don't play RPGs, but I love the Mass Effect series. I never played Andromeda, but like Bethesda had the opportunity to write like all these really cool like different species and stuff. And I could be wrong. Maybe later in the game you meet cool shit, but I think I only shot humans in Starfield and talked to humans.
That's it.
Yeah, it was just very straightforward.
Big bad people are humans reborn. Like there's not even like, where the fuck are the aliens? Like let's have some fun. I mean, there's more aliens in Fallout. That fucking like Mothership Zeta, like there's the space experience I want in the Bethesda game. Have a freaking Japanese guy with a samurai sword come out of a cryopod and fight alongside me. Like, come on, man, have some fun.
I think it's baffling as well because this is the same team that like they've made Elder Scrolls, and Elder Scrolls has what, like 9 races. You got Khajiit, lizard people, Argonians, that's the one. And then you got orcs. You got so many to choose from, and it just I want to know their thought process of why they didn't think alien. I have more in Destiny. I have 3 species to choose from in Destiny, for crying out loud. And I want to know the thought process behind Starfield.
Yeah, I don't
like from.
It's such a weird game to me because it feels like they went so wide that they forgot, like, you have to have some depth to, like, especially with a game like that, like, you have to have some depth to, like, the world, and you have to have depth to, like, the environments and stuff. Otherwise, people just don't care. And with a game like that, no offense to Bethesda, but their strong suit has never been gameplay. So if the depth of your world isn't very deep, then people just get bored because, like, Bethesda's writing sometimes is a little, like, hit or miss. I mean, like, it can be really cool, and they do things like there are parts of their games that are written very well, but there's also, like, I mean, all the criticisms about, like, the Bethesda Fallout games and the way they've been written, but, like, the world is so cool that it's like people still absolutely love it, right? But yeah, with Starfield, it's just like you said, you have all these different planets, but who cares? You have, like, snow planet, sand planet, like there's really like no, other than aesthetic, like, weather changes, there's nothing to it. And even, like, I mean, I've never been a huge No Man's Sky fan, because that's also not my style of game. But even that, like, I feel like the exploration feels so much more unique and, like, fulfilling in a game like that versus Starfield, which is, like, that's what Starfield probably should have been. I don't know, like, I would have loved to see what was going on as they kind of worked on Starfield, because, like, not everything about the game is bad. Like, the gameplay in Starfield's actually pretty decent. Like, I think the shooting and stuff is pretty good, though I imagine it probably, as someone who barely played any Fallout 4, I assume the gameplay is pretty similar, maybe just, like, slightly more updated.
Oh, yeah, well, people said that it's the combat system of Fallout in space.
Yeah.
Is essentially what it is, and that's what it feels like. But, like, I agree on the No Man's Sky. Like, it's not for me. I don't really like the going around collecting resources and just building bases, even though I said I like the crafting of Fallout 76 and stuff. No Man's Sky just didn't appeal to me, but I absolutely get it. The idea of flying out of a planet to the other one and landing on that and then carrying on in one seamless moment from a team of what, like 20 people? It was insane. And yeah, it launched in a horrific state. But the whole concept of just being able to take off and land wherever you want is phenomenal. And then they showed Starfield and they kind of gave you that impression that's what you were doing. To then fly in space in the smallest of boxes and then pick your landing zone and then just, cutscene, you're in. And then, like, Fallout did it perfectly. We had such a great world to explore. Fallout 76 still has a fantastic world to explore. You say what you want about the gameplay. I'm not the biggest fan of it. But that map is so interesting to explore. Fallout 4, again, not a big fan of the story, but the world is brilliant. New Vegas has got both. And then Fallout 3, fantastic world as well. Starfield has none of it, unfortunately. And again, I just think I know we're going to get onto the Microsoft stuff, but again, I think it's just mismanagement of something. Like, so many ideas went into it and then they couldn't agree and then came out with a product that sort of didn't know what it wanted at the end.
I love giving Xbox some shit. I think they deserve it. I do want. I feel like this one probably falls more on Bethesda than it does Xbox, because by the time Xbox would have came in, right, it should have been toward the end of development, right? Because when did Xbox buy Bethesda? I mean, it was like 2022, wasn't it? It wasn't super long ago. So, like,
earlier than that.
Was it earlier than that?
Hold on. I'm thinking 20. I'm thinking 20.
Yeah, it got overshadowed so massively by the Activision Blizzard thing that everyone forgot.
All right,
2022 might have been Activision.
Here we are. Never mind. That is
2021.
2021. All right, because it was during COVID, wasn't it? Like I swear it was like I was stuck in my house, and
it probably got pushed back because of COVID to 21.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, March 9th, 2021. There's a post officially welcoming Bethesda to Team Xbox. So like on that, I mean, Starfield came out in 2023, so like they would have owned it.
It was in development.
Yeah, so like I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could have shifted them, but like Bethesda clearly. I mean, this was more on like the publisher side, but like clearly was fucking up some of their own games because like Redfall probably wasn't Xbox's fault, other than maybe they should have canceled the game. But like that game was atrocious.
Well, they didn't want to make it. I get so annoyed seeing people saying, "Oh, well, it's understandable that they got close." Like, but they didn't want to do the game in the first place, dude, though. They knew this was going to happen.
It is sad, and like what you said, everyone's like, "Well, you know, I mean, the game was dog, so like, are we really that surprised?" But it is kind of a bummer because there's the news that like they were pitching to go back to like the immersive sim genre, and they were pitching, and obviously like the problem is like Prey didn't sell that well, but it's a game that over time I feel like people have really kind of come around to and realized it was really cool. It is a bummer that you don't get to see them try again, but well, that's a good segue. We can just talk about Xbox. Like Xbox, I don't. So like. I recently kind of did a good old, you know, nostalgia video, just talking about like the glory days of Xbox, like back during the 7th generation and the 360, when it felt like Xbox was like on their shit. Like they had their series, but they also had like hardware that kind of seemed like it had a point in it. It felt like Xbox had a vision back then, and then ever since the end of that generation, going into today, which has been like 15 years, I have no clue what Xbox is even trying to do. For a while they chased like motion control stuff, and then like that kind of died off. They just stopped doing it at all. Then they like had the Xbox One where they like tried to make it a cable box for fucking some reason. Obviously that didn't work, so they walked it all back, and then like now you have these consoles, and I actually recently bought a Series X, which is hilarious, but you have these consoles that almost have no purpose. Like every Xbox game is on PC, and now
you bought one.
What's yeah? Well, why did I buy one? Because I'm a dude trying to
not even to play Series X games, like to play 360 games, right?
In my video I did, I showed what's installed on my Xbox. There is nothing that has come out in the past like 10 years that is installed on it. It is all 360 games.
Oh man,
I still don't totally understand that decision. It just
I can't play Gears.
It just doesn't seem like that doesn't even seem like something you would do though.
Yeah, we don't all make good decisions, so I can't.
Did you get forced to buy it?
Did what?
Did you get forced to buy it by someone?
No. I wanted to play Gears 2 because Gears 2 obviously isn't on PC, and like you can emulate it, but if you emulate it, the 360 emulator is not that great. And if you play it on Series X with the backwards like compatibility, it's actually like a very well, like it plays great. It's in 60 FPS. I think it goes up to like 4K. I don't know. I played it in 1080p, but like they've like upscaled it. It looks great. It plays it. The frame rate is awesome, and it's the same for Gears 3. So I was like, yeah, I'm kind of sold. Like, because I've been replaying some of the Gears. I've been replaying the Gears games. Like I'm still finishing up 2. Well, I went through and played it on like casual because the one thing I forgot about is that to unlock like Insane on the old Gears games, you have to beat the game first. So like I played all these games like way in the past on my old like a 360 as a kid and on a different Xbox account. So now I'm like trying to go back to play them on Insane, but I don't have the difficulty unlocked. So like I ran through the casual difficulty just to unlock it, but I'm still working through the Insane campaign because I haven't been playing it a ton. But yeah, after that I'll probably play 3. I don't know if I'll play Judgment. I don't know if I care that much, but
I forgot Judgment existed, to be honest. I don't know if it was it good?
No.
Was it a good
No,
game?
No.
it wasn't a very good game. But you know what, though, Arash? How are you gonna feel if in a couple months they announce the Gears of War
Yeah, actually,
collection?
I thought about that,
Okay,
Jared, and I don't want to talk about it. So we'll just
It's
Like, I
coming in
hope it
June.
comes. Like they just shadow drop out. Here's all the games, modern
Yeah.
hardware and PC.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
I realized that the other day, and I was like, "This Series X purchase isn't going to look too hot once they drop the Gears collection, huh?" But whatever, you live and learn. So what are you going to do now? Now I have a console, guys. I'm a console gamer again. I can play all the Xbox exclusives on my console. So
Oh hell yeah! So
Yeah.
Senua's Saga gonna be straight on that, yeah.
Yup. I mean, I currently have Game Pass, so I'll fucking download it, and then they'll
There we
shut down
go.
Ninja Theory. So
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
God, if they do that, I will bash my head on a wall.
Well, they can't. Surely they can't. Like
I
they,
mean,
they're
hey,
already shot themselves in the foot with this whole Tango one.
yeah, but it's like I think they've already proved this is the problem, right? Game developers are scared to be creative because if we fail, we'll get shut down. But now at this point, at least at Xbox, it's like now they don't even know what to do. It's like if we're creative, we get shut down, even if it's a good game. If we're not creative, like it's just like it's all jumbled together. It's like what kind of message are you sending to your studios? Like even the devs are pissed. You got guys going, "Oh, look at all of these rewards we earned."
Oh yeah, you
Or
saw that
awards.
post.
that
Yeah,
tweet
it's
was
like
great.
look at this. And like you got all the devs from like Tango or whatever saying we were blindsided by this. We didn't even know about like what is going on here? Like this is ridiculous. As far as we know, we had a job still, but I guess not anymore. Like they're
It's just
trying to pitch Hi-Fi Rush 2 and they just said, "Nah, we can't have you hiring any more people. We got to close you down. Like this is costing us too much money even though this was our strategy." Like
I just don't get it. I just do not understand. Like even with the Redfall stuff, yeah, the Redfall didn't work, but they bought that when Redfall was already in development. So to be fair, that it wasn't Xbox mismanaging them. It was a game they didn't want to make, pitched by someone else. I don't know who that was, but if you look at the studio's history and what they've worked on, that's a fantastic development team that you want to keep on board. They can make games that people want to buy. But that's the problem with Game Pass, in my opinion, is that people don't want to buy it. They just want to rent it essentially. And it's cost, well, I don't want to say it's cost studios, but it is feeling like that. Like you've got Game Pass that is holding back studios like Tango from a big success. I mean, Helldivers, for example. Yeah, it's tied to PlayStation. That's had its controversy, but look how much it brought in that people paid for it because you had to pay for it. There was no other way that you could pay for get it. It was what, £32 on Steam or something like that. That must have made a fortune for that small group of
well,
developers.
think about the history of PlayStation, like all the games that have ever released across the years on PlayStation, and Helldivers is the 7th highest grossing game in PlayStation history.
That's actually
who'd
think
have
of
thought
that. Like that's absolutely insane. And I think some of that, and this is a lot of things I feel like a lot of like the executives at these corporations don't think about, is how important it is to keep a talented dev team on so they can, have that cohesiveness when they're making new games. Like I look at like something like the Final Fantasy VII remake to Rebirth. It's the exact same team from one game to the other, and Rebirth has so much fucking content. People were complaining about there being too much content,
I
and
know.
it's all meaningful content, and they pumped that baby out in basically 2 years of dev time, which is absolutely insane. 200 plus hours of meaningful content in 2 years by a AAA game standard, like with that high quality where your voice actors are so damn good, they're getting told to tone it down because their throw up noises are too real. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I think that's something Xbox just doesn't have anymore. They don't have that consistency in their dev teams. You're not keeping that talent from one game to the next because of all the contracts and stuff. Like there's no like real, I don't know. You don't have a winning formula there. And then you look at somewhere over like even like Nintendo. I mean, fuck, they don't get rid of anyone. They're
No,
like,
I-
"Oh, you want more money? go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like what you're talking about is exactly why we see. I mean, obviously Nintendo is a bunch of different studios, but it's why you see Nintendo still creating, like, I think, I don't know if I tweeted this or if I just messaged it to someone the other day, but like, when you think about Nintendo games in the past 10, 15 years, a bad Nintendo game is like a 7 or a 6 out of, like, it's still like above average, where like a bad Xbox game is an absolute piece of poop, right? Like a bad Nintendo game, like, you probably still play through it, you finish it and you go, oh, like, that it wasn't my favorite game, but like it was still like pretty good. Like, but on the other hand, you get crap like Redfall and stuff, and obviously, you know, the circumstances when you force a studio to make a game that like they have no experience making, they can't hire people to make because all the people applying to work on a different style of game, and like half the dev team just leaves in the middle of the game. It's probably not going to end too well. But you also have studios like, I feel like some of the, obviously, like PlayStation also isn't perfect, like they shut studios down too and stuff, but they do have, and they've had layoffs and everything, but I feel like they even then have done a better job of maintaining like good studios, because you have like Naughty Dog and you have like Santa Monica, like whatever, like the Sony Santa Monica, whatever they call it today, the God of War people. And you have like Insomniac and stuff, and you have these studios that have been around forever, right? And like they've been putting out consistently good video games for like well over 10 years, whereas like Xbox, homegrown wise, they don't have a single studio that's like been putting out consistently good games for like 10 years. Now, if you include all the people they purchased, like you have like id and like Bethesda and like I guess the Activision studios like Treyarch and stuff, like, I mean, you could argue they've been putting out good games. I guess it like depends on your definition of good, right? They sell well, but like,
yeah, that's it. That's what they see as good. It sells well.
But also, like, I want you to think about this too. One of the biggest complaints is like all of these companies are saying that gaming isn't growing, right? That's the thing Xbox likes to say. Like, gaming just isn't growing as a whole. But then you look at someone like Capcom, who has had 11 straight years of record profits, end over end. And then you got Nintendo that's endlessly growing, you know, more and more. And what do these two companies really have in common? Obviously, Capcom's a little different from Nintendo. They don't make a system. But it's the fact that they focus on single-player games. Now, obviously, Nintendo adds in, like, light multiplayer features to their games, but they just make incredible single-player experiences. I mean, Capcom does have a few kind of bad games. They kind of
that Resident Evil multiplayer thing.
Yeah, hey, Reverse, let's go, baby.
Yeah, but they don't. You know, they're not spending $150, $200 million to make a AAA game. They're making just solid, good AAA games and popular franchises without spending this crazy amount of money and just making them good experiences. And then adding on little features to, you know, for the people who want a little multiplayer, something to have fun with because they enjoy that franchise so much. And like you said, like even Nintendo's worst game, like let's just use Mario and Donkey Kong, like that random game that came out back in February, sold like 1.5 million copies. Like they sell a ton, even their bad games. So it's just ridiculous because of the brand loyalty.
When I was saying that, I was thinking of like the Princess Peach game that came out recently, because someone got it for my kid for her birthday. So I've been playing through it with her. And I don't know, it's kind of like an average game, but like sold well. It's still good. Like it's not.
Yeah, that's sold over 1 million too.
Yeah, it's not a dud by any means, but like I also wouldn't say it's an all-time great. Like it's just kind of like it's just a Nintendo game. You play Peach and you do these cool like theater mode things. It's actually kind of unique, but like you have like these different.
But it's a game
plays.
though. They sell things as fun games, Nintendo. So you know what you're buying. You're buying a bit of fun. Whereas Xbox games, I don't know what the hell I'm buying. Scorn. I don't know what that was.
Is that an Xbox game?
It came out on Xbox for a limited edition. It was like a 6-month exclusive or something.
That was the game that had the giant genitals.
It had a lot of questions. Yeah. I reviewed it. There's a lot of suggestive themes in that game. Very sexual. We'll just leave it at that.
It was based on an art style that was very like, you know, stuff
What
like
am I
that.
pulling on here? This is a little strange.
Yeah, streams.
What's all
got
over my
banned.
body? Like, okay, I'm squishing a baby.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait,
I think going back to like talking about Game Pass is, and I don't remember who it was, but there was that person that tweeted out about how like when Game Pass initially kind of launched and everything was growing, the model made sense because, you know, the revenue was getting allocated to these different games. But now as Game Pass is kind of it's not like dying, but it's kind of tapered off. It's hit all the people that are going to sub to it, and it's really like it's not at this point. It's not growing anymore. Now you have these single player games that cost a ton of money to make. And the model just doesn't make sense because the way they're allocating the funds is like based on like player retention, right? And so if you're putting out a Hi-Fi Rush, for example, that game was great, but it's also like a single player game that maybe takes 8 to 10 hours, and you probably finish it, you go, this was an amazing game. It was kind of like flavor of the month, and then you never play it again, right? Or maybe you like return to it years later. But it's not going to like month over month be hitting like player units, right? So if they're only getting money allocated as a studio based on month by month player retention, well, Hi-Fi Rush is going to do a horrible job of that. But had it not been on Game Pass and it was being sold for like $30, based on what we've seen this year, where like Palworld sold like 10 million plus copies, Helldivers sold millions upon millions of copies, and all the other indie games that have come out and done the same this year, I feel like Hi-Fi Rush could have easily done that last year, but there was no reason to buy it. People like me, I paid $1 for Game Pass to play Hi-Fi Rush, and then I called it a day, canceled my Game Pass subscription until the next game came out, and I just did the same shit again, right? Where it's like you have. Or I think I also played like Atomic Heart through Game Pass. Now I understand that's not an Xbox game, but it was on Game Pass when it released.
But it lost tons of sales, didn't it? That game lost tons of sales because people were just like, "Oh, just give it a go." It's like that game sold for on Steam. I don't think it was full price. I think it was like, well, maybe it was actually.
But I think it was like a $50 or $60 game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was actually thinking about it. But like it sold on Steam, but then it dropped like its financial targets because, again, I think because it was on Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, again, I played it on Game Pass. I didn't pay for it. Now that one I don't know if I would have bought. So I guess like because I didn't like it. So
well, I think this is part of the problem with Xbox in general, or Microsoft in general, is when I look at Nintendo and PlayStation, I may not hear about a game at all. Helldivers, for example, didn't hear a thing about that before it released. But their marketing gets me so hyped about things. Like Nintendo, they could drop a trailer that looks extremely fun. I'm like, I'm gonna get that. And I hadn't heard about the game at all before it. With Xbox, I mean, look at what they did with Senua's Saga the other day after the news. They just posted a picture of it with Senua's Saga 12th of May or whatever it was. And I was like, is that it? That's it? No trailer, no like deep dive into it? Like, what is this? This isn't hyping me up.
And it's funny you're saying that because if you go back a month, there was a bunch of deep dives into the game where a bunch of people gotta play Senua's Saga. It's like, why wouldn't you do that right now when the game's about ready to come out to get everyone hyped up? Like everyone's like, oh, this seems like a really good experience. But you like, it might have even been longer than a month. I can't remember exactly. It's like they're so poor at just, I don't know, advertising these games. Like they're great at advertising Game Pass, but they're so poor at advertising the games that would make you want to buy Game Pass. So then you have this situation where you got these execs looking down at Game Pass. They're like, oh, our sales look terrible. Are we not getting enough subscribers? Let's cut a couple studios because our $70 game isn't making enough money. And it's dumb because if you think about it, would you rather sell 1 million copies of a $70 game or try to keep one person on like subscribe to a subscription for 7 months to recoup the cost of that game? Or it's a little less than that or whatever, but like that's the
person
problem.
though, That's
like per person, like it's Helldivers 2 proves that a $30 game like Senua's Saga, if Xbox didn't do Game Pass the way they do, if that was like a $30
Is it
game,
going to
that
be
sequel,
30?
I don't think it's 30, but I'm just saying if it like hypothetically, if it was a $30 game, they'd probably sell like 5 million copies. Like I'm willing to bet it would be like 5 million. Like it's between PC and Xbox. Like it's just they're costing themselves way too much money at this point.
I honestly think they shot themselves in the foot back in, was it 2019 at E3, where they just announced everything. Senua, Halo, oh god, what was that one with that undead deer that God knows where that game is?
State of Decay 3.
State of Decay 3, where the hell's that? They announced so much. Yeah, exactly. They announced so much stuff with cinematic trailers that got people hyped. And we're now talking like 5 years later, and we're finally getting Hellblade 2. And I'm like, and there's no marketing. It's like they've learned from it. I get it. But all of that hype that they generated. I mean, Fable, they dropped that trailer, a year ago now? For that, Fable.
It was during
God knows where that is.
The showcase last year. So yeah, it's a year ago. But I saw
where the hell is that?
Well, there was some article the other day that ran that said like Playground is struggling because they don't know how to make an RPG, or not. I shouldn't word it like that, but like it's a new genre for them. So like,
oh yeah, they did racing games for so long now. I mean.
Yeah, that could have been them trying to branch out. I don't know, but imagine if you still had like, it was Lionheart, right? That made the original Fable games, and
that was shut down. I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, it did. And there's that funny meme. Well, it's not a meme, but there's that funny clip where is it Phil Spencer talking, or it's someone else at Xbox?
Sarah Bond. Or
yeah, and she's talking about how like they kind of regretted shutting them down and like they don't want to make a mistake again.
Right. That just summarizes them, doesn't they? Just, we regret this, we regret it. And I honestly think this whole problem with Xbox and they're like why people don't have confidence in them, and I don't think they even have confidence in themselves, all ties back to when they released the Xbox One. Because since then, they're just so negative about their own thing. Like Phil Spencer said, even if we release 11 out of 10 game, it's not going to sell. I'm like,
dude, that was the dumbest
head
thing.
of the guy.
That is a fucking crazy statement. Like, I still can't believe he said that. That is, I just don't think he knows what an 11 out of a 10 game actually is. I think that's the problem there.
It's just before Starfield as well. I mean, like, that was nuts. Like, what are you doing?
Dude, that was such a crazy statement to me, because if you think about Xbox as a brand, you had the original Xbox console that was pretty niche. I mean, it sold some copies. And then you have the 360 that for a while had outsold the PS3, right? And why did it outsell the PS3? Because it had great fucking games, right? You had the Gears of War trilogy, you had Fable 2 and 3, you had Halo 3 and Reach, and like you had these games. Oh yeah, and you had Mass Effect, because Mass Effect did eventually go to PlayStation. I know it came to PC, but is it on? I don't remember. I don't remember if.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. But it was definitely on Xbox first. So you had these great games that you had to have a 360 for, and people will buy a console to play video games. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? And it like they've already seen the model. Like it's in their past. Like they have a brand that made a splash based on good video games, and then shocker, in the following generations when they haven't had very many good video games, the consoles haven't sold very well, and then you have the fucking head like, yeah man, I don't know if we made good video games, I don't think people would buy the console.
Well, go ahead.
I think that's the whole thing right there. Like, we could talk about all this different stuff, different strategies, and what Xbox is doing, but I really think it just ends there. The problem is they don't have these exclusives that they used to have. I mean, it's possible that Xbox wouldn't even exist today without great games. Those great games being Halo 1 and 2 on the original Xbox. I mean, Halo 1 in and of itself, sold the original Xbox. I just bought an original Xbox to play original Halo 2.
Yeah.
I
mean, they've even said without Halo, Xbox wouldn't be.
Yeah. If we lose our way with Halo, we lose our way with Xbox. I mean, it's right there. I really think that's just the issue. They don't have the exclusives they used to. And I mean, I'm not someone who loves exclusives. I don't. But I do think that was a big part of their success in the past.
But if you enter the console game, and they've been in it for many years now, and they keep saying they want to be competitive against PlayStation, but then they turn around and say, well, we're not going to win. But you need to do things like exclusives. I mean, Starfield could have been multi-platform if they wanted to, but they made it exclusive and it didn't do well. But
it's not a really good exclusive. That's the problem.
Well, and that's the other problem. Every time they have a new game coming out, like Hellblade 2, and they're like, "Oh, I'm interested in this game. I'm gonna." Let's just say you're on Twitter. You're gonna search it up. Oh, let's see what people are saying about this. Half of the stuff you see, oh, this is coming to PS5 in a year. Or it's it's like,
yeah.
Well, what reason is there to really care about buying an Xbox?
And,
or I got it's just.
And Xbox, they moved. I think it was like 4 games that are coming to PlayStation now. Sea of Thieves.
Hi-Fi Rush was one of them.
Yeah,
Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment.
People see that, and when they're deciding which console to pick, maybe they choose PlayStation now because there's already games on there they want to play, and there's the possibility that Xbox games will come to PlayStation in the future.
Also, just like to touch on that too real quick, is like, I believe like Hi-Fi Rush shading was better on the PlayStation version than the Xbox version.
Yeah.
And Pentiment ran better on the PlayStation than Xbox. Like they didn't do their like 120 FPS update or whatever to the game till it came to PlayStation. Like you're even releasing better versions on PlayStation in a sense. Like it's a joke to your customers.
But also the Series S, I feel, is a massive hindrance to them because whilst it's a great idea, and I mean, I even got one early on because I thought that's a good idea. It's a portable. Well, it's not portable, but you can take it because it's so small and it's got Game Pass on it. It's a great ecosystem thing. But then you look at it and they advertise the X as the most powerful console out there. I'm like, yeah, but your games are being designed and they have to work on the Series S, which is essentially Xbox. What was the Xbox One X, but in a smaller platform thing? And they said, "Oh, it's got ray tracing." It's like, yeah, but it looks poor. And I mean, they're trying to make. I feel like they just confused themselves. They've made the most powerful console in the world, but then a small one, which developers have even said that the Xbox Series S is so difficult to manage because it's supposedly next generation, but it's old hardware at the same time. I mean, I know Baldur's Gate 3 were having a major problem with it. And that they seem to know all about Xbox's real woes. They didn't like Game Pass. They don't like the Series S. I feel like just speak to the team behind Baldur's Gate 3 because they seem to know what's best for the Xbox platform at this point. And they sold an absolute fortune.
I feel like the whole like benefit to consoles, and this has kind of gotten scuffed in PlayStation does it too, is like the whole benefit in the past was you had like one set of hardware that you had to develop for. But yeah, with the Series S and X, it's effectively like a PC platform, but without like on PC you develop for the highest spec and you kind of just like, yeah, if you have an old PC, like get fucked, like upgrade your shit. But Xbox can't do that, right? They can't tell the Series S owners to just get fucked. Like their game still has to run at an acceptable rate, right? Whereas like, how many PC games do we see come out and you're like, yeah, if you're not running like a 3000 series, you're probably shit out of luck, right? Like,
yeah,
you're just not playing that one at a reasonable frame rate. But like, and people do complain about like optimization on PC, but like, you can only complain so much if you're still trying to run a graphics card from like 8 years ago, right? Whereas like the Series S, I mean, based on the specs of the Xbox One X, when did that come out? Like 2016, 2017? Like it's pretty old by now. But also,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The branding of Xbox consoles is fucking atrocious, man. Like,
oh yeah,
you had the Xbox and the Xbox 360. The 360 is kind of a weird name, but whatever, that worked. ever since then, dude, oh my God, you have the Xbox One, you got the Xbox One X, and then you're like, all right, whatever, like, just make a different name, right? And then they go with the Xbox Series X to just confuse you as much as physically possible.
We had all those like people and Christmas of that year, like they don't know about gaming, and they're going, "Can I have the Xbox X?" And then it's just like, because I remember, I don't think I was working at the time, but I had people working it, and they'd work in retail, and they'd have people going, "Can I get the Xbox X, please?" And they'd be like, "Which one?" Because we're still selling both. Which one do you want? And they go, "Oh, I don't know. They just want the Xbox X." It's like, oh, we're just going to have to get the new one, which is logical, but at the same time, like, you've got these poor, like, elderly people not having a clue because the names are so all over the place. I just don't even get it. Series X, what does that mean?
Oh yeah, why wouldn't you just go like, oh, Xbox 540, Xbox 720? There you go. There's the two different ones. Like it like, oh, just look at the numbers. Obviously, this is between. Like, it's just. I don't understand.
Like the 4000 series or something.
I'd like to play on my Xbox 4K, please. All right, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Why not at that point?
Like, seriously though, like at this rate, I would actually think. I think Xbox should abandon consoles. Like, okay, not completely abandon consoles. Everyone's probably like, please no, like we don't want to go this route. But no, they should actually take a page out of Nintendo's book and just learn to make a Series X portable like a Switch. Make a handheld device that you could, dock and then play, that's the same power as the Series X, and kind of like the Xbox Go. You want Game Pass to be everywhere. You know how huge that would be to people? Oh, I can take this anywhere I want and play it like a Switch. Like, I think they would be surprised by how much they would sell doing something like that. And that's why I would call it the Xbox Go, X-Go, whatever. Like, simple marketing or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think it would work.
I think you just put Game Pass
on Steam. Don't they already have?
And you just let people buy the Steam Deck and just call it a day.
You could do that, but I'm trying to help Xbox here. You just take it off of the Steam Deck, because obviously that would be a good marketing move to piss people off. And you go, okay, we're gonna go back to being selfish. We're not releasing on PC anymore. Yeah. All our games are coming back to our ecosystem.
Yeah.
No, I don't. It's crazy because, like, as someone who like primarily plays on PC, like, I like when PC gets day one releases, has console parity or whatever. But it clearly does hurt like the console platform, right? I mean, obviously, like, PlayStation is starting to bring more of their games to PC, but they're still bringing them to PC like a year or two after launch. Other than something like Helldivers, that makes sense, right? No one's buying a console to play Helldivers. Maybe they are now, but like when Helldivers 2 launched, they for sure wouldn't. So that one makes sense, release it at the same time on PC. But your big PlayStation titles are still, they still, like, Spider-Man 2 isn't on PC yet, right? It'll probably come, I don't know. Well, it's cracked on PC, right? But it's not officially on PC. Yeah. But
that's the thing, though, that maybe I'm just a bad buyer and everything like that. But if I like a game that I've played on PlayStation, so I loved God of War, the 2018 one. 18? Yeah, something like that. I loved that game so much. And then when it came out on PC, I was like, I'm buying it. Upgraded graphics. I can play it on PC again. And suddenly I've given Sony, £120? And like with Xbox, I mean, I don't touch the Xbox app on PC. I know
it's horrible. I hate that thing.
I see a lot of people say, like, I see you've posted a few times, like the Halo Infinite, how many people are playing it. Jesus. And I always see the comment like, yeah, but the people playing it on the Xbox app on PC. I'm like, I'm telling you now, as a free-to-play game, no one is touching that Xbox app on PC. They're just doing Steam, because we've seen time and time again, if something goes to the Epic Games Store, people just wait.
I will say, apparently, with Warzone, more people still play it on Battle.net than Steam. Apparently, that's what people claim.
That's right. Well, to be fair, with a 200 gigabyte file, I'd keep it. I'd keep it in one place. I'd move that to Steam.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. But like you said, I mean, this is like the classic, like, classic Rockstar. But I bought GTA 5 multiple times because I bought it on a PS3 and then I bought it on PC when it came like a few years later. Same reason. I mean, at the time my PC actually wasn't that great, so it was probably a worse experience on PC. but when I was purchasing it, I thought it was gonna be sick, and then my PC sounded like it was like it was about to lift off from my desk when I was trying to play GTA, and I was like, yeah, maybe this ain't the play. I tried to play GTA Online more recently, and it just doesn't work for me. Like I can't log into like the Rockstar thing.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, whatever. I'll wait till GTA 6 at this point. I don't even care.
This is funny though, right? Because obviously I just got done playing through Stellar Blade and stuff, and I see so many comments of people, man, I can't wait to buy this again on PC for those mods. You know, it's I know where this is going.
Like mods.
Stellar Blade's gonna have some. It's gonna have some jiggly mods. There's gonna be
there'll be a lot of one-handed warriors on the keyboards. Let's just say that.
Dude, I still can't get over that fucking like controversy. Like people gotta get hobbies that aren't that. I would say that I mean, obviously gaming is a hobby, but those people they've gone too far down the rabbit hole, dude.
That's their personality at that point.
I get it. Like, you know, you have a little censorship here and a little there, then maybe it eventually becomes a problem. But the problem is, I don't even know if it's a censorship thing, really. Like, it's just hard to say if it's a creative decision or censorship. Like, there's no real proof one way or the other, so it's just hard to make an argument. Like, there's just nothing. This isn't Helldivers where the game's being ripped away from people. It's just like, I got a little clothing right here. Like,
what was the controversy?
They added a little clothing to different outfits in Stellar Blade, so there was, you didn't see as much cleavage.
Oh, it's less revealing. Okay.
Yeah, there was like the trailer, and then there was a demo, and the character wore a tiny bit less clothing, and then when the game actually like full release, they'd put it. I mean, it's still fucking pretty revealing.
Trust me, there are some very questionable outfits in that game. Like, my wife came in and looked at it, she's like, that's lingerie. I'm like, no, it's an outfit. She's like, no, that is lingerie. I don't know what you say. That's not, you don't wear that to kill shit. But it's just like, it's funny. And I do want to say too, though, there was like, supposedly they like toned down the blood effects in the game too. And I don't know if that's a censorship thing or that's a performance thing. Like, it's hard to say when it comes to something like that. Because, like, I watched a video about an old, like, racing game where they had, like, an FPS counter in the game. And if they removed it from the game would not work correctly. So they moved it off screen. They said when they say game development is hard, the weirdest shit fucks with everything. And honestly, after seeing that, it's like, you know what? That's wild. This game wouldn't run without an FPS counter within the game. So it's like, who knows? It could be a performance thing. And to me, that's what matters most, gameplay and performance. And there hasn't been a AAA game that has performed like Stellar Blade, I would say, in basically the last 10 years. Like, that game is flawless performance-wise. Like, that is the best performance I've seen in a game in years. Like, it's insane.
You know what games I thought that about? The Doom games, like the modern Doom games. I feel like those run like amazing.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Like when I launched up Eternal, I was still rocking like a 1070, and it still ran at like 100 FPS. I was like, "What is this? Like, what kind of magic did they perform here?"
I mean, that thing runs well on a Steam Deck. Yeah. Like, you get like a good 40 FPS, and considering what's in that thing, to play that game at 40 frames per second, I mean, sometimes that's beating like a Series S.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what they did with it.
They got 2016 on the Switch, so that's a miracle.
Oh yeah.
It does look pretty funny though. Like I love sometimes looking at games that have been ported to the Switch. Like, have you ever looked at Apex gameplay on the Switch? Dude, that shit is good. There's like, the textures are atrocious. Like, it looks like I personally haven't downloaded it on my Switch, but it looks like a good time.
What was that really bad one? That was like a completely different game. It was like a fighting game, wasn't it?
Mortal Kombat.
That was beautiful. Those finishes were so incredible to watch.
Yeah, that's the downside of the Switch. and just Nintendo as a whole. Nintendo does a fantastic job like with their platform and their first party stuff, but their third party support has always been like atrocious because their hardware is always like a generation behind where it should be. And
more than that sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean, I got the Witcher 3 on it, and I remember loading it up. I'm like, "There's no grass. There's nothing here."
when did that come out? That's like an Xbox.
That was 26. What, the Switch version of it? Or?
No. When did the Witcher 3 come out? Like originally?
Oh, 2015.
Yeah, so
2015.
Like, what, like an Xbox One game, like an 8th generation game?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Struggling on the Switch.
I mean, it's a good looking game.
Yeah, for sure.
Which Geralt just didn't look like Geralt.
Hey, it's just like season 4 of The Witcher. Geralt just doesn't quite look like Geralt anymore.
Oh yeah. Who are you? Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, obviously, there's all the discussions lately about Game Pass, and maybe it's kind of screwing over studios, but like, it's clearly been a focus of Xbox. So what do you think? Obviously, like none of us we don't have inside knowledge or anything, but like, what do you think they could do with Game Pass so that it's still like valuable for the consumer, but at the same time, like the studios themselves, like it makes sense for them?
Well, I think it's simple. The mistake they made is releasing games day one on Game Pass. As much as it would probably make people mad, if I were them, I would make it so new games come to it 1 year after release that are exclusives to Xbox, and I would drop the price of Game Pass way down. Like just drop it by like make it $5 a month, $6 a month, and I guarantee the amount of people you would get that would sub to it and keep it would make up for whatever I don't even know how to put it. It just, you'd make a lot more money with a lot more users, compared to one person at $16 a month, having 4 people making $20 a month, And plus, on top of that, the game sales would go up. I just think it'd be better overall if they went with that route, but you're going to piss off a lot of people doing it, and it might take a couple years to recover from that, which, I mean, that's just a normal thing for Xbox. Get some goodwill, fuck something up, bounce back, and then just repeat the process.
Yeah, I think they shot themselves in the foot with that day one release, because I look at things like, I mean, Fallout 76 wasn't on Game Pass when it first released because they hadn't bought it then, I don't think. But when it did go, it got an influx of players just who wanted to try it. And then obviously with the TV series doing well, it got even more. So I'd imagine that for Game Pass subscribers, you suddenly have a game that you really want to play. And then Diablo, when that came as well. And I just feel like there is that thing where encourage people to buy the game, but then if they've been hesitant of whether they want to play it or not, 6 months later, put it on Game Pass and you can try it, like that Atomic Heart one. Because I wasn't bothered by it, but then I know it's on Game Pass. I still haven't played it, but still, I do feel like you're winning in both aspects, because then you're getting the initial sales of the game, and then you got the people who aren't a bit hesitant subscribe. But then I don't know where you get the money back for Game Pass if you're releasing everything 6 months later. Like, I don't know if you'd bring back I think I saw your tweet, Arash, the other day that put in backwards compatibility stuff on it. Get people.
I mean, they have backwards compatibility.
Immediate.
They have backwards compatible stuff on it now. Like you can play like all the old any game that's playable on the Series X. Like you can play it through Game Pass, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I like, it's cool for me because I'm like one of those people that just like has sold all my shit over the years. So like I don't have a 360 and I don't have all my old games. So it's been nice to be able to launch up the Series X and just download like the catalog of Xbox games from then without having to buy them. Cause like some of those aren't too bad to find now. Like you can still find them for like $10-15, but some of those games are like weirdly rare and people charge too much money for them. But I think what they could do that would maybe not like you're right, Jared. At this point, I think they're screwed regardless on what they do because they can either keep down this path, and it doesn't seem like it's working, right? Or they make a big shift and piss a bunch of people off that want AAA games day one for $10, right? But there's also the rumors that they're going to raise the price, and like. What does Xbox Ultimate Game Pass Ultimate cost right now? Like 14, 15 a month? That's
It's
like
£12 here.
I think it's like 16.
Yeah, that's the upper end of what
yeah.
I'm willing to pay for a monthly subscription. Like, if the price goes up, I'll just cancel that shit and I'll just buy 1 or 2 games a year from Xbox because Xbox doesn't put that much shit out anyways that I care about. So like, it's not.
Exactly. Like I've had it pretty much since day one. I've had Game Pass, both me and my wife. I think I'm gonna cancel it for the first time ever. Like I don't see a reason to have it anymore at this point. It's just not worth it.
I cancelled it because the only game that my wife was playing Witcher 3. She loved just playing it over and over again, and that was the only thing we used Game Pass for. Because I play on PC, and if there was a game I was really interested in, I'd buy it on Steam.
Yeah,
because then I can play it on my Steam Deck. Then I can just sit on the computer and play it with the best graphics. I mean, I spent money on this computer, so I want to use it, and I just don't. So I cancelled it, and it's kind of the same as Netflix. I look at the stuff that's on Netflix, and I'm just like, I don't know. And like even the Witcher TV series, I'm like, it doesn't bother me really. So there's nothing to watch on there for me, and it's the same with Game Pass. Although there's new stuff coming out like Hellblade, if I was really interested in that game, which I'm still debating if I'm interested by it, I'd buy it on Steam again to support them. And maybe I'm just a bit sort of privileged that I can afford to pay for games day one. But I'd rather know that I'd support the devs. Like Baldur's Gate 3 was an easy day one purchase for me because I was so interested in that game. Gave them money, and the game's thriving. Same as Helldivers 2. I saw that people were having a good time. I was like, that looks great to me. That really appeals. So I'm going to buy that. Every time I get a game through Game Pass, I feel like I'm cheating someone out of, like I've pirated it or something. There's something inside me that I'm like, I don't feel like I own this, so I'm just gonna play a little bit and then I'll buy it afterwards if I like it or not. So I don't know. I don't know what's best for Game Pass, honestly, because I just think it's going to go the same way as Netflix is going, where they're just losing subscribers because they're not churning out enough big content every other month. I don't know.
I can't remember the last time I was excited for a Netflix show. I'm trying to think.
Well, that's exactly it, yeah. So I just cancelled that as well.
So I will admit we keep a Netflix subscription, but that's because my kid watches cartoons on it. So Netflix is the one that we have month to month. I'll cycle the other. Like I had Amazon. I just had Amazon and then canceled it, right, just to watch the Fallout show. and I'll do the same when like other shows come out. But yeah, I don't. It's Game Pass wants to be Netflix, but at the same time, the Netflix model is struggling. So it's like you're chasing a model that's also having issues. Whereas like gaming had a model that worked. We just sold video games, right? And then if you want monthly revenue, you make live service games, right? And you just try and have both, and then you have it on both ends. Like PlayStation has their giant first-party titles that cost a shit ton to make, and you pay $70 for them. You play them for a few weeks, right? And you'd never touch them again, but they're good games. But PlayStation also, like, they've bought Bungie, and they also have stuff like Helldivers. So you have the live service revenue style games also on the platform, and Xbox also has both now too. But no one buys the actual Xbox games. Like we just play them on Game Pass for
that's the problem. No one's willing to actually buy games if it's on Game Pass, and I feel like they're just going, why aren't people buying our games? Like, well, you're giving them for free. Why are people going to want to?
It's interesting we're having this conversation now because I've thought for a long time, like, doesn't putting these games on Game Pass like screw these games over? Like, I've noticed that a long time ago, and now it's like people are finally talking about that. And if they didn't release games day one on Game Pass, they waited 6 months, they waited a year. I mean, I mean, how much does that really hurt their revenue? I mean, maybe Xbox makes more because maybe some people don't like that the game isn't available on Game Pass day one. They cancel their subscription, but they'll spend $60-$70 for the actual game. So I mean, Xbox might actually make more money that way.
I think the problem is today Game Pass costs too much money to do that. Because I tweeted something out about that, and I basically said, like, it should just be for backlog. But the problem is, like, who's paying $15-$16 a month just for a backlog of Xbox games? Like, that's insane. No. So you have to lower the price. But the problem is Xbox is a publicly traded company, and they have all the scrutiny. So if you go to your stockholders and you say, hey, we slashed the price in half and lost half our revenue month over month, it'll pick up like 3 years from now, but like today we're gonna kill our revenue. Like, no, like, unfortunately, like, as a company,
I wasn't saying anything about reducing the price.
Well, yeah, but I think if you don't reduce the price, a bunch of people just cancel. Like,
well, I'm saying those people that do cancel and still want that game, and they spend $70 on the game instead of however much Game Pass is now, Xbox could actually make more. Because I mean, if Game Pass,
hypothetically, right? But the day you make that decision, you lose guaranteed revenue, guaranteed. Like,
yep.
So you're playing a game there where you're assuming like we're gonna make good games that people.
I mean,
buy.
It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. I mean, a Game Pass would even if you didn't release games day one on Game Pass is still a great value. It's not for me because I don't play video games. That's why I've never really had Game Pass other than a handful of times when something was on there that I wanted to play. But it's still a good value.
I think that's the problem though, is that for us personally as gamers and other people, it's a brilliant service. In terms of a company, it's got to be awful because they're not making the money, and because of that, they're closing studios. So Game Pass isn't a bad thing for us because we're getting what we want. We were getting the game, everything like that. I don't like the idea that I'm getting it for essentially free. Personally, I don't know why. There's a weird thought process, but I think it's just costing them. And now we're seeing things like Tango getting shut down despite winning tons of awards. And it's like, I'm not comfortable with Game Pass being a thing if you're going to shut down companies like this. I'd rather just pay the price.
Because you played Hi-Fi on Game Pass and you didn't purchase it, you're the reason they got shut down.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit, I played it on Game Pass. I didn't buy it. But
it's all your fault.
I do think all of
at least Jared bought the game.
I did buy the game. I'm one of those guys who has Game Pass but still buys games. But I also want to say this. I think this is still like the COVID effect because when everyone was stuck indoors and you had Game Pass and stuff, but you were also probably buying a lot of games. Like whatever their numbers show, they're like, okay, we got Game Pass subscribers, but all these people are still buying games because you're just sitting in front of your computer, whatever, all day. You can't go outside because of lockdowns and stuff or whatever. You know, you're one of those paranoid, scared people. You're like, oh my God, I can't go anywhere. I need something to do. I'm going to buy a bunch of subscription services. I'm going to buy a bunch of games. I'm going to inflate all of these numbers up, make these companies think they're doing something magical that's like, God-given right to the earth. And then it's all going to go downhill. Now they're going to be scrambling, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And like, I think that's some of the effects, like you were saying, PopQ, about does Game Pass really help games, right? Like, are these studios shutting down because they're on Game Pass? Where like back during COVID, you had like a lot of indie studios and stuff who said Game Pass helped them release their game, helped them actually be able to make a profit. And at that time, it made sense to put your games on Game Pass because everyone was struggling to get the games out the door, and it was the only way for them to potentially make a profit. And then now everyone's back out running around doing their shit, and now it's like it's just not the same. It's just the whole idea behind it, the way the whole world was functioning then till now. It's just not the same. So they just haven't adjusted to anything at all. Like they're just basically caught with their pants down at this point.
Well, I think Starfield, I don't know how it did sales wise, but I think that had the right idea where I don't like the idea of like you pay for the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition, you get 3 days early, but that massively affected their sales because people were buying it because they're like, I want to play Starfield early, and then it dropped on Game Pass. So it's just sort of like they got that influx of money, an absolute ton, because I mean, there was a lot of people playing it like 2 days before the game dropped. And I feel like that's the thing they could probably do to get money and keep Game Pass is get the deluxe editions or ultimate editions to release early, and then it drops day one on Game Pass, even though it's technically 3 days later. I think that's the only way they can manage both the money. And then they got the multiplayer games that can bring in annoyingly microtransactions, but that's the only way you can pay for free to play games. So
yeah, I think obviously like any type of like live service multiplayer game makes sense to just pop it out there day one. But yeah, your single player titles, it would make sense to hold them a bit. I think Starfield is a unique case because people were so hyped for the new Bethesda game that they would be willing to pay like $70 or $80 just to play it 3 days early. Whereas like I don't know if that's the case for like Hellblade 2 or I don't know. I'm trying to think other like Xbox games.
I mean, like Call of Duty already
Call of
technically
Duty
does
it.
But there's no loss in releasing these games a couple days early for anyone who buys them. Like you're not sacrificing anything to even do that. So maybe it's just worth doing.
Yeah.
Like just 3 days early.
What?
Screw it.
I almost wonder too if they should do like the EA Pass bullshit, which like I don't know. I think that comes with Game Pass, but like
I was gonna say that's already part of it. I
think. But they do the thing where they don't put games day one on it, but what they do is they allow you to basically demo the game as part of the pass, and then you can decide if you want to buy it or not. And I don't know if the
PlayStation says as well.
What's up?
You demo. PlayStation does the demo as well.
So I wonder if that's something they should do. Xbox could do where maybe if it's a big single player title, they hold it. It's not going to be on Game Pass for 6 months, but you can play 4 or 5 hours, right? And see if you like it. And if you like it, then you can buy it. And if you don't, then you could wait till it's on Game Pass, or you could just never play it again. But
yeah.
I don't know how much that would eat sales too, because like Hi-Fi Rush, if it was on a Game Pass for 4 or 5 hours, I still don't think I would have bought it. So
again, in their books, it wouldn't look like it was a success. It's such a difficult thing that I'd imagine even their corporate ones at the top who are trained in this are still like debating it. I mean, they're even debating what they do with Call of Duty.
Yeah, I was gonna say like clearly it's still a giant like confusion for them, because you would think before you spent $70 billion on a company you would have a plan for like their biggest core gaming IP, but apparently not. But yeah, they're still debating if Call of Duty is going to be on Game Pass, and like on one hand, it's like, I have Game Pass, give me fucking Call of Duty. But on the other hand, it's like, dude, they're gonna lose their ass on that, right? Because like the amount of people that buy Call of Duty every single year, like me, I'm a sucker. I show up to say COD sucks every year. Although I enjoyed MW3, it's fine. But yeah, they're like $60, $70 games every single year, right? And if you just put that on Game Pass as part of my $15 subscription, well, I'm never going to buy another COD game, because why would I? I usually don't play them for more than a month. Usually I buy them and I go, yep, it's Call of Duty. Put in my 10, 15 hours and I called it a day. So
that's it, yeah. It wouldn't last long.
if I just do that on Game Pass, I'll just never buy another Call of Duty game. And like, I don't. That's obviously a ton of money, and I don't know. I think with Call of Duty specifically, they should put all the old games on Game Pass. It should be like everything other than the most recent title should be on Game Pass. Like currently MW3 shouldn't, but everything else should be on Game Pass. And then when like the new title drops this year, then they add MW3, because like I feel like that would work, because you could have your backlog of COD games and people still play like all of the COD games multiplayers, so it's not like you'd be getting dead video games. Plus you get all the campaigns and stuff. and then they'd still keep the sales. But yeah, I don't. It is crazy to me that news came out that they're still trying to figure out what to do with Call of Duty. It's like, how did you not have that determined when you bought Activision? Like, I know a big part of Activision is like the mobile gaming stuff with King. But still, you had to.
Then how's that not going to help? Like, surely that helps. There was a point to that acquisition.
Well, that's the whole thing, right?
Saga makes like $24 billion a year.
That's just. That's the thing. They can say that the gaming revenue is up, right? There's those numbers that it was up like X amount of dollars, but then if you look at it, all of those dollars are just from like the Activision merger. So it's like the actual Xbox revenue hasn't gone anywhere. So it's like, I mean, good on you guys. I guess you came in after Activision fucked some shit, and you're able to do like a little takeover that like a few years ago wouldn't have been like, you wouldn't have been able to dream of buying Activision for $70 billion like a few years ago. But they've repeatedly fucked things up so many times that like you got it seems ridiculous to say that's like basement floor pricing, but like for what you were getting out of Activision like a few years ago, it's actually insane that it went that cheap. But then again, they had like multiple scandals. They fucked up like multiple esports leagues. So like they weren't doing too hot these days. But yeah, I don't know.
It's simple, guys. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Xbox comes on. They go, all right, everyone, we're doing it. If you subscribe to Game Pass, you get to play World of Warcraft. Let's just bundle them together. Like, I feel like that's an easy win. It's like War Within is coming this year. Well, guess what? It's releasing on Xbox Game Pass. So go ahead and
think about how much monthly revenue World of Warcraft brings in from that. Was it $8.99 subscription? They're losing that as well. Then, oh, is it?
Well,
they're losing that as well. Then,
because if they're raising the price of Game Pass and it's more than a WoW monthly subscription. And if you're okay, like WoW players play WoW and they don't really play anything else. So you're really not, I don't think you're really going to mess with that market, like that money made there. But for Game Pass that costs more than the WoW subscription, you already have the people in the ecosystem getting on World of Warcraft. And, maybe you make some money from microtransactions then from that point, going to WoW with like the WoW tokens or whatever. I don't know, I've never played WoW, so I don't know what kind of shit they have going on there with the mounts and stuff.
WoW also still sells expansions. They lose their ass on that too. Like,
yeah,
I get your point. It would be cool, but they would lose a lot of revenue from. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
You could still sell the expansions. Just be like, hey, everything up to this point you get access to, but going forward, you got to pay for these expansions just to, stay in line with everything else.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's also the wrong demographic. That's PC specifically only gamers. For their console fans, they still need to try and get them on board,
Hey, play anywhere, stream WoW through the cloud and play on your Xbox.
You can plug a mouse and keyboard into your Xbox, so you're set.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're fucking set. All right. Well, I think that's some good Xbox talk. I do just want to say that there was another article that Perfect Dark is still in development hell, and fuck Xbox, man. The only things that I ever care about from Xbox just suck or never come out.
I think that's the thing that annoys me the most about this is they have some of the most interesting IPs for me personally. I absolutely love Gears of War. No idea where the next one's going to come out, if at all.
We're supposed to get the news is we're supposed to get a reveal for that next month. So I think we'll see Gears.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're supposed to get 2 Gears things.
I bet you it's going to be a remastered collection, which is good,
and probably the new game. And like,
yeah,
Gears is an interesting franchise because it's gone down the same route as Halo, right? Like the trilogy was really good, and ever since then, like it's never hit those heights again.
Yeah, so 4 wasn't great. So.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they can. I want to say like recover it, but I don't even know. Well, I'm excited for new Gears. I still think like the Gears campaigns are fun, and I think like. Usually I play the multiplayer a little bit until the mainstream people fall off and then dude's just wall bouncing everywhere and I can't hit them. That's when I stop playing Gears.
Yeah, I think overall what annoys me is that Xbox has so many IPs that they can make tons and tons of money from, and they're just always in development hell because of the contractors, and just it's not nurturing talent. I don't think. I think that's their problem, and I just hope we see some big games from them, and I think that will help their revenue in general. If they just release games people want. Yeah, I don't know. It's easier said than done, of course.
Yeah, like you probably it's crazy because I mean, obviously, like spending a ton of money on Activision probably, like apparently, has brought more scrutiny onto Xbox's bottom line. But it is crazy because if they just released good games, we're probably not even having this conversation, right? Like, I understand Hi-Fi Rush was a good game, but like if their big hitters had been good games for like the past 3 or 4 years, they're probably like in a totally different spot, right? Because
absolutely,
they're just like everything's going well.
And that, well, you just mentioned, I think a lot of people don't consider that when they hear about like Hi-Fi Rush being a successful game, meeting their expectations. Like, yeah, it might have been a really good game, really successful game, for that kind of game. It doesn't mean that Hi-Fi Rush was as successful as Xbox's, top flagship games. And I think some people just don't get that.
Yeah, it's not a console seller. That's the problem.
Exactly. I mean, it never was or could be. I mean, it's like a quirky $30 game, right? Like I don't know. It's like a rhythm game. It was always going to be like semi niche. So yeah, I don't know what their expectations were for it. It's like for what it is, it's like super cool and it's creative. And I think you could have expanded on it and like continued to kind of grow it, especially like since they had the player base from the first one. Like I think most people who played the first one would probably load back up and buy the second one. So they could have kind of came back and hit it again. But yeah, I mean, Hi-Fi Rush isn't your next Halo installment. It isn't your next Gears installment. It isn't Starfield. It isn't Elder Scrolls. Like it's not their big IP. And it should be more of like a fill the gap type game. But instead, we're talking about like in recent years, Hi-Fi Rush is Xbox's best game, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yep. It's that you look at everything that they've done. Yeah. And Hi-Fi Rush is the best one.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. It should be like the 5th best game in the last couple years, right? Halo should be like number 1, and
Redfall. If that's their best game, that's
like 2 or 3 or something. Like it's
that's
just
a problem.
It's not good.
Yeah, I think
a thing
or you would maybe argue has been their best game for years, which is no offense to Forza, but that's sad that a racing game is your best game.
Apparently, the new one isn't very good. So,
okay. Well, there you go.
Apparently, I saw people saying the new Motorsport's like the worst one.
I can't stand it. As someone who plays a lot of racing games, I can't even speak. Forza Motorsport. I played it for like 2 days and just went, yeah, I'm done. I'll move back to something else. And it's questionable ways they've dealt with the upgrade system and everything like that. But yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
considering how hyped people were for it.
I feel like what we've seen with what happened to Tango and what happened to Arcane is kind of it's the downside of publishers buying up studios, right? Because you have all these studios that are now intertwined revenue, right? So you have Xbox as a company that wants to cut revenue, right? So they're not going to cut as much as people meme, like, shut down 343 or like shut down the Coalition or like shut down one of these huge studios. They're not gonna, because those IPs are still worth a fuck ton more than Hi-Fi Rush, right? But the problem is Hi-Fi Rush can be like a successful, good game, but these other games have shit the bed. So now, like, when they look at the spreadsheet and they go like, all right, we have to cut this much in salary, right? Granted, there's other solutions, like maybe pay your executives less, but like assuming you can't do that because they have to make their 10 mil salary a year, like, all right, we have to cut this many people, right? Which of these studios has the least valuable IP? Well, Tango Gameworks had made a good game, but let's be real, Hi-Fi Rush as an IP, probably not that valuable. The Evil Within as an IP, kind of niche. Ghostfire Tokyo or Ghost. I can't even remember the fucking name. There you go. Ghostwire Tokyo. Like the IP is almost irrelevant, right? So you can shut down a studio like that, and like it probably. It like moves the revenue on the spreadsheet, but it probably doesn't like affect their high end ceiling or whatever, right? Whereas if you shut down 343 or you shut down the Coalition, right? Sure, Gears and Halo haven't been great lately, but I guarantee the next Halo game will sell more copies than Hi-Fi Rush ever would. I guarantee the next Gears game will sell more copies than Hi-Fi Rush ever would. And like maybe Tango Gameworks gets to that point, like 3-4 games down the line, but today they're not. And unfortunately, they're intertwined, right? Redfall shits the bed. Xbox spends a ton of money on Activision. All right, we got it. We have to cut people. And unfortunately, when you're all intertwined, the people that are going to get cut are the smaller and the mid-budget studios that don't have super valuable IP. And that's like, you're never going to see them shut down Playground or the Forza devs, right? I mean, not that they should, but like because Forza as an IP is so fucking valuable, right? There's no shot it's like their best performing IP. So like, and you've seen the same thing with Embracer over the past year, right? They have shut down so many studios, but which Embracer studios still exist? The ones with IP that are still worth a damn, right? And it's unfortunate because some of those studios haven't been as good, but when everything is intertwined and you just have to cut shit, it's unfortunately just, you know, you just look at it from a like an executive point of view, and it makes sense, right? Like
yeah, but the problem the thing that angers me the most is they spent so much, and they kept saying every time they bought stuff, we have the resource. I mean, they're a $3 trillion company, for God's sake. Like, they have the resources to keep things going. And instead of buying Call of Duty and buying Activision Blizzard, why didn't they invest that money in making Halo a phenomenal shooter, one of the best in the industry? That's billions that they put towards buying Call of Duty, which is already a competitor to some extent for Halo. They could have used that money to build up these studios to make games instead of cutting them. But they keep using contractors in these studios. And like, compared to what Sony do, where they hire talented individuals. I'm not saying Sony are perfect. They've cut people as well. But I just feel like the money management of Microsoft is just atrocious for one of the richest, if not the richest corporations in the world. Like, they could have invested in these studios. Instead, they've bought a massive publisher, and now they're cutting all the little guys. And it just doesn't make sense to me.
I think the thing is they're almost buying these like publishers for their games, right? Like Tango is gone, Arcane, like all these studios got shut down, but they still own the IPs. And you look at something like the Forza devs making Fable, and let's just say Fable turns out good. Who's to say they go, okay, you guys did great with Fable, now you guys are gonna make the Evil Within 3. Find a way to make it work. Like, we still own the IP, we can still do something with it, except for, you know, obviously not having those original devs, you might lose the essence of what made those games so great, right? Like with Lionsgate or whatever with Fable. So it's just like, it's almost like a gamble. It's like we cut them now and we can make the games later or whatever, you know, down the road when we have some free time with some studios. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't like any of it. I don't like devs being cut this way. Like, obviously, if you make a bad game, there's going to be repercussions, but to be successful and to just get cut like this, it just sends a bad signal to people who want to make games. Like, why would you not just want to be an indie dev and self-publish? Obviously, that has its own issues, but it feels like less of a gamble more and more, you know, with each year that passes.
I mean, that's what we've seen recently with like the CEO of like Moon Studio, the guys behind Ori. He's literally come out and basically said like, what's going on right now is why they've never sold. And sure, I'm sure at points they probably could have gotten more funding or maybe made something that was more like equivalent to a AAA game. But at the end of the day, the second that you sell your studio, your fate is at someone else's hands, right? Whereas if you stay independent, the flip side is if you stay independent and you don't have like a backlog of good reserves, if you fuck a game, it's over, right? Like if you have like if Arcane Austin was their own studio, if you flop Redfall, it's just done, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they got
Correct.
shut down anyway, so it's like a bad example. But like, if you were 343, that's a bad example too, though, because the Halo games have soul. You get my point, but like,
Yeah.
you see studios that put out a game and it doesn't sell, and that's just the end of the studio.
Sea
So
of Thieves at launch.
Yeah.
If they don't have the backing, that probably cripples Rare. Because of all the support and the way it bounced back, thanks to the updates and streamers, it was able to make that recovery. So I think that would probably be the best example. Would be Sea of Thieves.
I just worry about like they're making all these cuts and they're sort of targeting the smaller studios, which I get to some extent. At the same time, how do you know those guys aren't responsible for the next big IP? Like they could have come out with a new style of Dishonored that becomes Xbox flagship suddenly.
oh, for sure.
But we won't
Yeah.
know now because they've invested so much into Call of Duty and this Activision thing, and Fallout wherever that's going to be, or Elder Scrolls. And if Elder Scrolls flops, what are they going to cut then? Like, does Obsidian go next? Obsidian are responsible for some of the best role-playing games in the industry, and yet they could be cut at any second if Avowed doesn't go well.
And well, you have to think
just,
too, like
yeah.
what is the world where Avowed sells super well? I just don't see it, right? I'll play it.
Well, I
like,
don't know
well-
anything about it again.
Well, then-
Like,
I definitely don't see it.
nah.
But like, yeah, and Obsidian has like a fan base, but I feel like Obsidian before they sold they've been on the brink of shutdown like multiple times throughout the years in terms of funding. So that's probably like the game that they played where they're like, we're over this. Like if we just sell, then we don't have to like be starved for funding every single time we try and make a game. But
yeah.
I don't,
They got
it
Outer
does feel
Worlds
it
too
does
as
feel
well.
like it does feel like an Obsidian or like a Ninja Theory or some of the other like mid-size studios that Xbox has bought up over the years like are probably the most. I mean, even like Arcane, like they shut down Arcane Austin. Arcane Leon seems like, I mean, I know they're working on Blade, but like I don't know, they feel like they fall into that category of Xbox studios that like could get shut down any minute. Like
Yeah.
the only studios that seem safe to me on Xbox are the fucking Activision ones.
That's what I mean. Like they're so focused on Call of Duty and maybe not Halo because of how many staff have left that. But I think the other thing that we haven't really touched on with Tango is that, yeah, maybe they're a bit of a smaller one. They were their one and only Japanese
Yeah.
development team. They had a hold in Japan, something they've been wanting to do for ages. They already cancelled Scalebound ages ago, which would have been something that could have done really well for them. They've now cancelled their one and only Japanese development team. How are they going to get out there in the East? It just doesn't add up. Like, yeah, they're small and they don't have maybe they don't have the resources and they could have cut a lot of money from them. But the Japan market is something they've wanted for years and they had it and now they've shut it. And I just don't understand. I think that's what baffles me the most about it. If it was a small American development team, yeah, I can understand to some extent. But the fact that they were their Japanese development team, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And
that
that's
is
why I think the
crazy 'cause
management's all over the place.
It is crazy too, because my understanding is it's like super hard to buy a Japanese company as like an American company. So it's like
Yeah, there's a real conflict of interest and everything like that.
yeah, so it's like it's weird that I mean, again, like Tango wasn't like hot fire or anything, but like you said, I mean, you were talking about Arcane, but like, what if 2-3 games from now Tango fucking hits it big and they're now going head to head with some of those Japanese studios, right? Well, we'll never know now.
Evil
Yeah.
Within 3 could have been as big as a Silent Hill or Resident Evil type game. Like it has
Yeah.
that potential. Like Evil Within is fucking cool. It needed a little bit of tweaking to really kind of appeal to more people. Because at times if the controls are a little clunky, but like you refine that game and it just it could have been something special.
I feel like they heard that they got Hideo Kojima on for whatever that weird project of his is.
Oh yeah,
with the faces, and they went, there we go. We've got our Japanese demographic now, so we don't need things. It's like, well, that could be miles away. We don't even know if it's going to be good. It could just be a live action talk. So we don't know what it is. Let's just think of it.
We sit here talking about like Xbox and why they make the decisions they make, but it just, I mean, a lot of it just doesn't make any sense, and it hasn't made sense for a long time. I mean, just look at how they've handled their, top IPs over the last several years. So a lot of the things they do it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's essentially.
Like I'm not even convinced behind closed doors it makes sense. I just think some of the stuff doesn't make sense. I mean, we touched on it earlier. How they named their consoles. I think they're just stupid. I don't know.
Hey,
that's it, really, isn't it?
I posted that picture. Matt Booty can't even get his own studio's names right. He got them mixed up. Like, I watched Hidden Xperia's video. It's like Roundhouse Games and Alpha Dog Studios instead of Alpha Dog Games and Roundhouse Studios. Like, fuck, man, you can't even get that right.
He doesn't even know his own.
What a joke.
That's it. They probably went, "I'll just get rid of Tango. They haven't done anything recently." And then they saw the Twitter outrage going, "They got rid of Hi-Fi Rush," and he went, "Oh, that was them? Oh crap!
Hi-Fi Rush guys?
Oh jeez, that was our best game."
Man. I really messed.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, and also it's the fact that they shut down the studios and then they had that controller ad, like feel the burn today with the new Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like their marketing team is such a fucking joke, man. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen better advertisement from a fast food restaurant. Like, come on, man, fucking learn something.
I know. The madness. And then to come out with a comment saying, like, we want smaller development teams that are award winners. And like, you just got rid of them. Just got rid of that
statement is fucking insane.
Well,
like that is the most like tone deaf statement I've ever seen. Like
it was beautiful to see, but so like wrong.
People
so
are
wrong.
like arguing, like, yeah, they're talking small teams like that made Pentient from Obsidian, where like you look at like the dev list on that game, it's actually like 300 people. It's like,
yeah. I mean, Bethesda's small technically because that's only like 300, 400 people, but like, I don't know.
There you go. They're looking for the Elder Scrolls 6 to win some awards so they can say their small dev teams finally did it, dude. The next Halo game will actually be good, and they'll be like, 343, our indie developer has finally hit it big.
The small team of people. Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Well, we've been going for a while, so why don't we kind of wrap up here? I feel like the Xbox talk, I don't know, there's just a lot to talk about. I mean, honestly. So why don't we kind of wrap it up, and we'll do one last thing. Instead of talking about what we've been playing, why don't we just talk about one game that's like coming out in the next month or two that we're excited to play? So, Jared, I'll let you go first.
I mean, I think it's pretty easy. I'm ignoring Hellblade 2 for now because we've already talked about it. It's the fucking Elden Ring DLC. It comes out in June. And man, I am ready. If there is such thing as a DLC that could be deserving of Game of the Year, even though obviously it won't win it, it's probably going to be Shadow of the Erdtree. Like, I cannot wait to play that. It's going to be, I already know it's going to be good because they just don't fucking miss. You want to talk about people who know how to make a good game? There you go. Go on, Microsoft. Learn something from them. Just anything.
FromSoft is fucking, as much as I don't their games have never been like my jam. You tip your hat to them, right? Like they've been making bangers, and the cool thing about FromSoft is like I feel like as time has gone on, their games have become like more and more mainstream to the point where like the game itself is still like it's still FromSoft DNA, but like the recognition for what they do has grown. Whereas like for the longest time, I feel like Dark Souls, like they were still selling copies, but they were sort of like that niche hardcore title. Whereas like Elden Ring is sold fucking gangbusters, right? And even like Armored Core 6 or whatever the number for the recent one was, for what that game is, sold very well. Like that is a game that like most people probably would have never played if it wasn't FromSoft.
Exactly, and they've never changed what made them good. They've always stuck by their principles, and they just found a way to make it more accessible without actually sacrificing the difficulty of the games or the core game design of those games. Like, this is how our games are. This is how they all are. These are, shared principles across all of them, but we found a way to still make it so people who aren't as good at these games can find a way to play them with Elden Ring, So it's just, I don't know. They're geniuses as far as I'm concerned. I respect them.
I think the cool thing about From too is obviously like the Souls like genre has been their bread and butter, but like they still do stuff like an Armored Core. So it's like I understand that's an old IP for them, but like they're even within the Souls like genre, they've done different games. So it's not just Dark Souls every time. We're not on Dark Souls 8 at this point. Like they clearly are letting the devs like play with their creativity a little bit, but within their DNA. It's not like their next game's not going to be like Dark Souls Live and it's just a live service loot shooter.
Right? Oh god. Hey man, Dark Souls Battle Royale, man. I'm telling you, it could be something special, but no. I hope someday they bring back a game called Kuon, which a lot of people don't know about. It's a horror game they made back on the PS2, and it was like a fixed camera horror game, and you could kind of see a little bit of the Dark Souls DNA in that game. But I don't know. Please remake that game or bring that series back. Make a sequel, because if you haven't seen that game, just look it up because it's fucking cool. It's different.
This is probably a crazy statement, but the most time I've ever sunk into a FromSoft game was Chrome Hounds. That game was so fun.
Never heard of it, honestly.
Well, it's this game. It's an online. I might have had a campaign. I don't remember. But what I played was it was an online game where you would pick one of 3 factions, and once you picked the faction, you would earn money, and you'd be building your own mech to basically go play in these like PvP fights, and these fights would determine this overarching map. And as you won battles, like it was kind of like the Helldivers thing, except instead of fighting like PvE factions, you were fighting real people, and it was such a cool concept for the time, because that was back cool. Like early 360. Like it was a cool game. I actually really enjoyed it, and it was very cheesy because it was like of that era where like shit was just mega broken, and there was just like mech builds that you could do where you just didn't take damage. But like I think I imagine if it came out today, it would be a bit more balanced.
I want a PlanetSide 3.
Yeah,
get that mass scale PvP stuff where you got different factions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember playing PlanetSide 2 back in the day. It was like one of the first like PC games that I got into. I just ran around, had no idea what I was doing. Like I would run around for like an hour, finally find one person, die, and then get off. That was kind of my PlanetSide 2 experience. I had no idea what I was doing.
The good days. Yeah, it was a bit confusing, but once you got like what was going on, I thought it was a great thing. And in this sort of era of wide scale PvPvE or whatever, I think it could do really well. But I don't know who was responsible for it, to be honest. So
yeah. All right, Pop Q, anything that you're excited to play?
Well, I'm sure you're aware that we finally got a release date for XDefiant. I've played multiple of the test sessions for that game. Had a lot of fun playing it. I like my shooters. It's, I'm not gonna like hype the game up or anything like too much because it's nothing too special. But it was just like a fun game, and I think it's gonna. For me, it's kind of just a game that's gonna fill that void that was left due to modern Call of Duty games not really appealing to me. It's a fun game. I like the gunplay, like the movement. Excited to play ranked in there because I liked playing ranked in my games. But it's nothing too special. But yeah.
When does that come out?
Tuesday.
Later, it is Tuesday. Damn.
Tuesday.
Is it? Jeez.
I thought it was a little later in the month.
Oh shit!
Wait, Tuesday?
No, sorry, the next Tuesday. Sorry, I'm a week ahead of time.
Okay.
It's the 21st.
Okay.
Same day as Hellblade.
Yeah, same day as Hellblade. Luckily, I don't think those two are competing markets. So no, I'm gonna download XDefiant, so I'll play with you a bit, Pop Q. Will I be able to play it on Steam, or do I have to fucking use the Ubisoft Connect app?
I can't find it on Steam, so it must be on.
fuck.
I'm assuming
got
it's
an
still the
Xbox,
Ubisoft
though.
Connect.
Oh, that's
Play it
true.
on
I'm gonna
Xbox.
play it on Series X, dude. Fuck it.
Oh, if that comes out on the same day as Hellblade and they're both going Game Pass,
Well,
they've screwed over Hellblade.
Well, no. X Defiance like a free to play Ubisoft game. It's
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not fucking. It's
I was
not
gonna
fucking with
say.
anyone. I mean, it's in its own little world. But it'll be on Xbox, so I'll just download it on my Xbox, dude. So I don't have to
Well,
download.
we'll
So
see.
I don't have
We'll
to use the fucking Ubisoft store.
Oh god.
We'll see if that game really is dead on arrival, like a lot of people have been saying it will be. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, I do think there is more of an interest in that game than people suspect there is. I mean, even with the last test session, I think some like pretty big names, big content creators got on and streamed the game. So
I mean,
I think there's definitely still an interest for it.
I feel like it'll get a good wave because there's so many like COD streamers and YouTubers that are gonna give it a shot. It'll just be a question of like whether it sticks around, and I honestly don't know. I do feel like they missed the boat.
Didn't
but
they have like a really good roadmap for this game though?
They did,
That was shown like
but also
a long time
like,
ago.
how much fucking faith do I have in them at this point? But yeah, they did. They had like within the first year there was like a shit ton of maps and like a whole faction and stuff that was supposed to come out. So we'll see. I think it could be like a. I don't think it's gonna be like the COD killer, anything like that, but it could be like a decent free to play alternative to Call of Duty. Like it could kind of make its own little spot in the market because like you've been. Or like I don't know if you alluded to this or said it, but like there just isn't much multiplayer shooters these days. So like, that are new. Like all the ones that are on the market are shit we've been playing for years. So like, it could make a little spot. But yeah. All right, Wisefish, what are you excited to play? Pick a game, any game.
Well, currently I'm playing Hades 2, which is in early access, so I suppose. You could say it's coming out, but
no, that
fantastic.
counts. That came out like a few days ago. We count it.
Yeah, what a fantastic game! I love the first. The second's really good. The art style's just fantastic. Upcoming games. I mean, Elden Ring. I'm so bad at the game. I love it. I love the world, but I'm so bad. So I am looking forward to the DLC, but I'll probably just watch other people play just to see what it's like. But
I got you covered.
Good. Yeah, I'll watch yours. Animal Well, I'm intrigued by because it's Donkey's studio.
I wanted to talk
it's on
about
sale
that
at the moment as well.
Yeah. We just talked about the Xbox stuff for so long, but yeah, that apparently it's like selling really well. So I'm good for Donkey, dude. Good for Donkey. Good for indie devs, dude. It doesn't look like my type of game, if I'm being honest, but it's a cool thing. It's something that I bet at some point I'll buy on a sale. And then
it's on sale currently.
Well, what's it on sale for right now?
So many people give him
it's
shit,
$22.
you know, like say he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to games, but you know what? He did a pretty damn good job of seeing a team make a game and go, "That's going to be a good game. I'm going to."
Isn't it just one dude?
You know?
Exactly.
I think it's just one dude.
Probably.
I don't think
is it just one?
Yeah, I think it's just a dude.
I guess I don't know. I just knew.
Yeah. When you look up Steam and the developer name is just a person's name, that's when you know.
Person's name, yeah, that's great. But I'm gonna have to be boring at the game I'm really looking forward to. Even though I've had my horrible times with it, is Destiny's Final Shape, just to finish that chapter.
Oh man, that's
Wait,
fair.
really? That surprises me because I was just looking on your channel at the beginning of the podcast. Haven't you made like one lore video for Destiny?
Yeah, it did so badly. And because I respect like Bife so much, I was just like, nah, he does the stuff really well. I'll just let him do it.
Because there's like a ton of lore in Destiny to dive into. That seems like that would be something like you would get into. But
the problem is I don't have like a group to play the raids with, and a lot of the lore is tied to the raids, and so without that, I can't really look into it. But as I say, there's quite a few channels that do deep dives. I just feel like
I've come across some of them.
Yeah, they're better off doing it than I could. But yeah, I love playing it. It's sort of like my downtime game. Stick to it as a hobby and don't touch it for videos and stuff, really.
I think Destiny's that game for a lot of people that they just return to when there's a new DLC.
Yeah. When I see people say it's in such a bad state, I'm like, Yeah, but I jump into it like 2 times a week, and I love it because I haven't played everything, so I'm catching up. I think that's the best way to play it. Really, is just regular breaks, and then you can really enjoy what's on offer. If you're playing it every day for like hours on end, you're going to be so bored and burnt out by it.
That's when that game. That's how that game gets like really repetitive. Like when I was into Destiny and I was playing it every day, it got in this like routine of doing like the same stuff, going to the same places, doing these certain bounties, getting these certain rewards, going to the tower. It was like the same like routine.
Yeah, exactly. But when you jump into it every so often, you suddenly got actually meaningful things that you could do. So that's why I enjoy it. It's just like a easy to play, shoot enemies, get some loot, and then go to bed. So yeah, that's why I enjoy it. The Fallout update, the Fallout 76 new map looks quite good as well. Don't know if I'm massively hyped for it, but still looks interesting.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So there was one game I was excited for next week, but I literally, as I was scrolling through Twitter, it just got delayed, so I'm a little bummed. But I'm excited for the Rogue. It's the Prince of Persia game made by the Dead Cell dudes, and it's like a roguelike Prince of Persia game. So I'm actually pretty excited for that one because I'm a sucker for Prince of Persia stuff. This one's actually on Steam, so I'm rewarding Ubisoft with my money this time around. Because of the Metroidvania Prince of Persia game that came out earlier this year, like it looks super cool. I just don't want to buy it on the Ubisoft store. So if the second they port that baby to Steam, day one purchase for me. But until then, dude, I just don't care enough. But yeah, no. So I'm excited about this one. It should be pretty. I mean, Dead Cells was cool. Prince of Persia's cool. It seems like a slam dunk to kind of put them together, and I think it'll be pretty cool. They basically said like with Hades 2 like dropping, they're also having some bugs, but basically I think they're moving it out to not get their sales eaten by Dead Cells or by Hades 2. So I mean, fair play to them. So, but yeah, I think that's honestly probably like the only upcoming game that I'm like actually excited for. Like I'll play some X Defiant. Other than that, I don't really know if there's too much that I care about that's coming up. That weird, it's been on PC forever, but that like toy soldier ass game is coming to Xbox at the end of the month. I
had no idea that was actually out.
Oh, it's been out for years on PC. I
remember seeing the clips of it on Twitter, and then I saw it recently that it was coming to Xbox. I'm like, wait a minute, it's been out? Like I haven't seen a single person playing that.
Yeah, I'm the same. I kept seeing it on Twitter, and I actually muted it after a while because it's like, oh my god, it's coming up all the time. So I didn't know it was out.
Well, the end of the month. Oh yeah, the PC you could have bought. I was trying to figure out like if it's gonna be crossplay, because if it's gonna be crossplay when it comes out on Xbox, I might pick it up on PC just to be able to play it. Because I don't think it has a player. So like I think if I buy it on PC today, it's just dead. So if it has crossplay, I'll pick it up to try it out. If it doesn't have crossplay, then I don't think I care because it's a shooter, so I don't really want to play it on controller.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that kind of does it. I think we've been going for a minute. Wisefish, thank you for joining us, man. It was a good talk.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Lots to talk about with the Xbox stuff. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely picked a good week to, I think Xbox knew. They knew you were coming on the pod, and they're like, all right, they need some stuff to talk about, so let's just fuck up a lot over the next week.
Here we go.
And they held their end of the bargain, so.
Yeah, and then next time we talk about doing another one, Sony will do something or something. And then we go.
Like they kind of already did.
Hope. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we just forgot about that.
Yeah, and Nintendo's just over in their happy place. Like, oh, let's just copyright this person. No one cares.
That's my favorite thing about Nintendo is like they just like put out good games, but like every month or so they DMCA strike some random shit, and you're like, do we really need to DMCA strike some Gmod mods from like the past 10 years? Like,
it is always so funny where the people are just like, screw Nintendo, they're the worst people for doing this, and then they announce like Kirby's New Adventure or something like, hell yeah, Kirby, and then we're back to like praising them.
Yeah, I think like as a company with the way they handle their IP, they're they're very overbearing, but at the end of the day, they make good games. And from everything like we can see from the outside, they also like seem to treat their studios with respect. So, you know, I'm all for a good fuck Nintendo like post when they do something dumb. And I'll next time they DMCA some random shit, I'll post a little fuck Nintendo. But at the end of the day, like I think they are probably like They seem like probably the best publisher like company in terms of like how they actually handle stuff. Like, and I'm not even a Nintendo fanboy. Like a lot of Nintendo games, I don't fuck with at all because they're just not my style of game. Obviously, as someone who like likes to play first person shooters, which are not a not a genre that Nintendo hits on very much, but
yeah.
But yeah, all right, man. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
The VOD for this, for everyone listening, will probably be up like, well, my internet sucks, so I don't know. Whenever my internet uploads it, so maybe in a few hours. Other than that, we'll be back in a couple weeks. I think I have our next guest lined up. I'll give you guys a little hint. All right, you guys can guess in the comments who it's gonna be. He's a Halo content creator, and his little symbol is it's a type of animal that bounces. So I'll let you guys figure that one out on your own. All right, I appreciate everyone for watching and listening, and we'll be back in a couple weeks. Peace out.